Well, I'm gonna dance like nobody's watching. I'm gonna sing like no one's listening. I'm gonna kiss you like we're all alone, 'cause this world is ours. We're the have-not but the have-all. Twice the speed of lightning I travel. Through the universe I will run to write your name in the stars. 'Cause some truths will last forever. Music can bring the world together. I got life, man, I will use it till they lay me down to rest. So let's party in the supermarket. Move to the rhythm of my heartbeat. I take my tie right off my neck, wear it tied up round my head. 'Cause I got love, I got so much love, love in my heart. And this feeling, I can't let it go. Yeah, I got love, I got so much love, love in my heart. And this feeling, I can't let it go. Well, mountains crumble as I pass. This life's too beautiful to last. I feel a spirit rise inside me. Something's happening in the air. With my feet right on the ground and my head up in the cloud. We are one people, we are equal. You are wonderful and rare. And I got love, I got so much love, love in my heart. And this feeling, I can't let it go. Yeah, I got love, I got so much love, love in my heart. And this feeling, I can't let it go. Though we try so hard, they disdain us. But these walls, they can't contain us. Well, I'll try in the face of death. I'll fight this fight till my last breath. For the fright and the fool is often, yeah, far closer than the brave. We only go one life, let's use it. You can't stop the movement, so choke that. You can quote that money, you can write it on my grave. I got love, I got so much love, love in my heart. And this feeling, I can't let it go. Said I got love, I got so much love, love in my heart. And this feeling, I can't let it go. Yeah, I got love, I got so much love, love in my heart. And this feeling, I can't let it go. Said I got love, I got so much love, love in my heart. And this feeling, I can't let it go. Fully material, strictly speaking. I was 4 foot tall with a 3 for Mohican. I bunked off school and bought some tattooing. Engraved punk for life on my arm with a safety pin. I was sleeping in a park and selling the big issue. But this ain't no sob stories, I don't reach for the tissue. 'Cause these Spanish punks, they took me under their wing. Opened the squatting clap and common, they let me move in. This place was f***ing huge, I couldn't believe my luck. But it was no stranger to the odd ruck. I was sharing a room with this bloke called Jeff. He had rotten teeth and the world's worst breath. But we had such a time graphing up all the walls. Day trips to Brighton when the occasion called. Drinking red wine and coke, playing our music loud. On a shitty old tape player, we sung it proud. Used to sing, if we had the landlord from the top of the stairs, we could live it forever without care. So let's hang the landlord from the top of the stairs. We'll live like a millionaire, like a millionaire. We looked out for each other as a group, we were tight. All coppers up bastards, but we were alright. Painting our leather jackets, soaping up our hair. We look like aliens out of anywhere. If the tourists wanted a photo, we would charge them £1. When we had enough, we buy a bottle and pass it around. A bag of cheap glue, we roll stick fix and fix, and whatever we could find got thrown into the mix. We used to sing, if we had the landlord from the top of the stairs, we could live it forever without a care. So let's have the landlord from the top of the stairs. We'll live like a millionaire, like a millionaire. A couple years ago, the tramps in Piccadilly told me Aaron had died. My head spun around till I sat on the curb and cried, and I found myself sitting on Puff's begging patch. Well, I ain't seen him around, I pray he didn't lose the match. Now Al's in prison and he was the sensible one. Don't let the bastards grind you down, mate, our time ain't begun. Don't let the screws get in your head and fuck you up, cause when you get out, we'll string that landlord up. We can see if we had the landlord from the top of the stairs, we can live it forever without a care. So let's have the landlord from the top of the stairs. We'll live like a millionaire, like a millionaire. Does anybody care about us? Still living in the dirt and the dust. When a day's work is done and how dark your new pond is it then that you hand me the brush? Does anybody care about us? Or do we really know what through the fuss? Nobody's gonna come and help us climb up when they need us down here to clean up their muck. Digging graves to climb out of the ruts. We bear the scars from your cuts, but I'll always be the thorn in your side. I won't give up, won't give up. Does anybody care about us? Does anybody care about us? The little bit we've got left, we're not gonna give up. Does anybody care about us? Or is it all about having blind trust? That it's for my own good when my back makes your boots so you can't step over the mud. Does anybody care about us? When the orders fall down from above, a new-turn crusader who says they're our savior. I swear that I've seen this movie before. In the dirt, the line has been drawn. Come the hour, which side are you on? I'll always be the thorn in your side. I won't give up, won't give up. Does anybody care about us? Does anybody care about us? The little bit we've got left, we're not gonna give up. Does anybody care about us? Does anybody care about us? The little bit we got left, we're not gonna give up.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for that, Frezzo. Okay, let's try and raid into. Not raid, sorry. Link up with him. Give me one sec. This is like so janky, this shit. together. Does anybody care about us?
It's just the start of a new life.
Attack. I hope that this is not a portent of telling the future for this fucking budget. Okay. Right. Okay. I press the thing. That didn't work. Uh-oh. Wait. Has it worked? No. Nope. Okay. Fuck. Hey! Dave, you're muted. I kind of feel as though I disappointed you that when no. I don't think you disappoint me. Love, Francis. I think that I do have a lot of problems with law enforcement, both as an approach within the world that we live in, and a lot of individuals within the law enforcement business. But that doesn't mean that you've let me down. Like you I think we can have a good discussion about it. Maybe not today, but policing is something that is a bit of a trigger point in the UK, actually, at the moment. Somebody just got away with killing somebody in the UK, and it's a bit of a trigger. So I think don't worry about anything, and I would like for you to be open to understanding why aspects of policing are problematic, but we can have that discussion at another time, maybe. But that doesn't mean that I dislike you or that I have, like, in the same way I make jokes about, like, white people. Do you know what I mean? As a white person, it's like I'm often undermining and mocking institutions rather than individuals. Yeah, no worries. Dave, if you're there, I can't hear you. Davidbeth. That situation makes everything it touches foul. No worry, love. Afternoon, peasants. Hey, janky software. Oh no. At worst, love, we can do Discord. The only cool thing for us is it combines our like chats. Basically, let me just see if it's like working that way. Spooky month indeed. Fucking hell. You can hear both channels and yeah. Let me see if it's something my side. Can I unmute you here? No. Guest volume. Okay. You are okay, you've left. Technology, we're doing amazing. Awesome, guys. Leftist audio problems. Absolutely fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Okay. Inappropriate jolly mode off. No, put inappropriate jolly mood on because we got to cope somehow with it all. Hold on, let me just put some music in background. Okay. So, click a box to mark it, click a box to unmark. Okay, cool. So, oh. Yeah, here we go. Oh my god, fix the foundations. Insta. Like,
Excellent.
Hello!
Hi. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. You do sound like you're underwater, but I can hear you.
Okay. Right, we can work on that.
Awesome. Right, no, I got you. Okay. Are you ready? Are you ready for depression core? Depression maxing?
Right, copy the URL on your stream. Take part of the display.
This is like a fever dream.
Any session you take part of the display, wherever you will embed this link. Right, so we're going that one. That would work, I think.
Hi, Dave's chat. We can see each other's chats as well.
Browser source to screen.
Hi,
oh my God, this is so confusing.
Are you all right?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I think we go. I think we're okay.
Hanging on in there, buddy.
We're good.
Okay. What we need to do though is,
right.
Is it announced at 1?
It's currently going now.
Okay, BBC.
I've got a link for you.
Budget. Yeah, if you put a link in the chat, I'll open that as well.
Sure. Alright, okay. There we go. We're going.
Thank you.
We're going.
Okay.
Right, I've got to mute one of them. Apparently, I've got to mute one. Matt's helping. Matt's assisting.
Okay, cool. You've got someone on your
Thank
tech.
you, Matt.
Right. We also have budget as well. A budget bingo.
Okay.
Which is a shamelessly stolen idea from No Justice. Oh God, here we go. Black hole! Black hole! Black hole!
Black hole!
Black hole!
Oh my God. And I've got to mute that one. Right, okay. Are we good?
We're good, my end, I believe. Black hole! Black hole! Black hole! Everyone! Black hole! Ding, 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 ding.
Well, now I've just got to get... Right, now I've just got to get you into a window.
Okay.
The government is publishing a line-by-line breakdown
Gonna turn you up
of
a
the
bit.
£22 billion black
Oh, shit.
There you go. Right, Dave should be nice and loud now.
It shows
Excellent.
hundreds of unfunded pressures on the public finances this year and into the future too.
Just to bring that up
The
there.
Office for Budget Responsibility have published
I don't know why you're
overview
hearing me twice,
of the
by the way. Sorry.
circumstances around the spring budget forecast.
Now Dave's muted.
I think am I
Sorry,
muted?
And I quote,
Am I muted?
did not
Oh shit, am I
provide
muted?
OBR with all the information
Oh shit. Oh, there we go.
Cool.
Hello.
Hi. We can hear
Cool,
you.
we're
don't worry.
okay.
Disclosed pressures that have since
Oh.
come to light, then their spring budget forecast for spending would have been, and I quote again,
Black hole.
materially different.
Oh.
Let me be
Shade.
clear.
Materially
That means
different.
any comparison between today's forecast and the OBR's March forecast
Why
is false,
do they love this
because the
OBR
party
bullshit?
opposite hid the reality of their public spending plans.
I think it's because they haven't really got much
the very
else to
same
go on.
They made
We
another
hate
£10 billion
pensioners,
worth
but
of cuts to national insurance. It was the height of irresponsibility, and they knew it. Because they had run out of road and they called an election to avoid making difficult choices.
I don't think we had difficult choices.
So let me make this promise to the British
Yeah,
people.
we do.
Oh, do we?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Try and
difficult
bring that
decisions.
another
There we
window.
The
go.
government to play fast and loose with the public
Yeah.
finances.
Fast and loose, fast and loose.
Never again will
No.
we allow a government to hide the true state of our public
no.
finances from our independent forecaster. That's why today I can
God.
confirm that we will implement
such a
in full
weird country.
the 10 recommendations from the Independent Office for Budget Responsibilities Review.
I know, it's like...
But the country has inherited not just broken public finances, but broken public services too.
You okay, Dave?
British people can see and
Hanging
they
on
can
in
feel
there.
that.
Yeah,
their
I'm fine.
everyday
I'm just
lives.
trying to... Yeah, I'm just trying to kind of
NHS
get my
waiting
head
lists
around, like...
at
technical-
record
Tech,
levels.
it's a bit weird, yeah.
Children in porter cabins as school roofs crumble.
Oh, the fucking
Trains that do
concrete
not
scandal,
arrive,
isn't it?
rivers
The
filled with polluted
rack.
waste, prisons overflowing, crimes which are not investigated,
Oh, fucking
and criminals who are not punished.
Weasley Wes.
That's
Worst,
I mean, like, so
worst
much
gay.
of this is so
Worst
badly
gay.
framed, it's hard to kind of balance, you know?
Yeah.
But they had no plan to improve our public services. And they had no plan to put our public finances on a stable footing.
How about old
Quite the
autistic
opposite.
ADHD blokes being ignored by
Since
their
2021,
MPs?
there have been
office?
no detailed plans
par for the course,
departmental
unfortunately, in
spending
modern
set out
Britain.
beyond this year. And their plans relied on a baseline for spending this year, which we now know was wrong, because it did not take into account the £22 billion black hole.
Black hole! We've had like 4 black holes
previous
already.
government-
We've just started.
The previous government also failed
Oh, I
to
better
budget
put my
for
counter
costs
on.
that they knew
Yeah,
would materialise.
black hole counter.
Playing
That
with the
includes
bloody
funding
black
Someone
hole
earlier
counter.
was like,
Yeah,
compensation
so far,
schemes for
shots for
of
black
two
hole. We'd be dead
99 so
already.
far. I guess that's 106 now.
Early onset liver failure from the... Wait, what? What? Oh, okay. Shut the fuck up, lads.
I just mentioned respecting colleagues. The public are watching. They want to hear what the Chancellor has to say.
True. I don't know who you are, but true. Shut the fuck
I
up,
would politely
everyone.
suggest that honourable members listen to this, because it includes funding for vital compensation schemes for victims of two
Compensation
terrible
schemes.
injustices: the infected blood scandal and the post office.
Oh, they are
heroics.
going to
The
pay
infected blood
They
scandal,
are going to
which
do
took
that.
The
about
leader
a
of the opposition
bazillion years.
rightly
Yeah.
made an
I know, but it took
unequivocal
them so
apology
long. Most of
for
the,
the
I
injustice
hate to
of
say
the
it, but most of
infected blood
the
scandal
people
on
who
behalf of
affected
British
Have
passed
passed,
now, like,
yeah.
But he did not budget
right.
for the costs of
in
compensation.
terribly, like, fucking
Today,
absolutely
for
appalling the way
very
they handled
first
that. I was looking at the inquiry a
we
couple
will
of months ago.
provide specific funding to compensate those
Coke
infected
and
and those
sausages.
affected in full.
Hi, Sean. Welcome in.
With 11.8
I
billion
want what they
pounds in
promised
this
before the
budget.
election. We'll see,
And I am
Elron.
also today setting aside 1.8 billion pounds.
They
to
promised not
compensate
being the
victims
Tories.
of the Post Office Horizon scandal. Redress that is long overdue for the pain
Okay.
and injustice that they have suffered.
This is important, but it's very like
Madam Deputy Speaker,
weird
the leadership
policies
campaign for the party
intersecting with each
opposition has now
other.
been going on for over 3 months.
Yeah, just tell me you're not putting up VAT and I'll be fine. You know?
Yeah,
Apology
yeah.
For what they did to our country.
Have you seen they're raising the
Because
minimum
the
wage?
Conservative Party has not changed. But this is
No,
a
I
changed
haven't
Labour
managed to have a look
Party, and
too
we
much
will
today, so.
restore
By
stability to our
2025,
country
yeah.
What are they
once again.
intending to put it up to?
The scale and seriousness of the situation that we have inherited cannot
just
be
find it for you.
underestimated. Together, the hole in our public
Thanks.
finances this year, which recurs every year, the compensation schemes that they did not fund, and their failure to assess the scale of the challenges facing our public services means that this budget raises taxes by £40 billion. Any Chancellor standing here today
Yeah,
would have
40
to face
billion
this
is supposedly
reality.
the black hole.
And any responsible Chancellor would take action. That is why today I am restoring stability to our public finances and rebuilding our public services.
Increasing to 12.21.
As a former economist at the Bank of England, I know what it means to respect our economic institutions. I want
Why
to put
does,
on thanks I want to put on
Keir
record
looks
my
really
thanks to the
uncomfortable,
Governor of the bank,
which makes
Andrew
me kind
Bailey,
of happy.
and to the Independent Monetary Policy Committee. Today, I can confirm that we will maintain the MPC's target of 2% inflation, as measured by the 12-month increase in the Consumer Prices Index. I want to thank James Bowler, the Permanent Secretary to the Treasury,
Right, so
and my team of officials.
my take on this is if they're
Deputy
intending
Speaker,
to
I would also
like
to thank my
not put up
predecessors as Chancellor of the Exchequer.
VAT?
not put up interest rates and they're sort of like they've managed to keep it down.
Particularly,
Oh, sorry.
I would like to thank the former Right Honourable Member for
If they've
Scotland
managed to sort of
for his
like keep
valuable
it so
advice
that
in the
inflation
Speaker's
is like
papers,
down,
where he concluded that
I
his
would
mini
assume
budget,
that that
and I
means
quote,
that the threat to business
perfect.
is
Capital
going to be
gains?
minimal. Yeah, capital gains is one thing, but like I think basically, like, whenever you see inflation rates go up, it's because businesses like absolutely fucking terrified by the consequences of having to pay anything in a real way. Because like those sort of prices are always sort of like basically pressed onto consumers, and it raises inflation. Not just that, they're used to discipline workers. Like,
inflation hitting a peak of above 11%.
so if they're assuming that like inflation is under control and everything's stable, that would assume to me that things like the increases to the capital gains tax and stuff are going to be completely sort of nullified by the fact that they can get out of it. Because capital gains tax is, if I remember rightly,
individual
like super
tax
rich people
as
don't
well.
pay it anyway.
Yeah, they avoid it. Because they shore up their wealth in assets essentially. Which loads of good
it's like you
leftist economists are like, yeah, there's no point in trying to tax in this old school way because these people don't even work for a living. They rent, they own property, they own businesses, they own shares. Like, that's what you need to target at, rather than
it's not like they're ever going to cash out their shares. They're just going to take like next to near 0% interest rate loans to sort of fund their lifestyles.
2.1% in 2027, 2.1% in 2028, and 2.0%.
It's all in trust, so it can't be, at the moment,
Next, I move on to economic growth. Today's budget marks an end to short-termism. So I am pleased that for the first time, the OBR have published not only 5-year growth forecasts, but a detailed assessment of the growth impacts of our policies over the next decade too. And the new Charter for Budget Responsibility, which I am publishing today, confirms that this will become a permanent feature of our framework. The OBR forecast that real GDP growth will be 1.1% in 2024,
7 pillars.
2.0% in 2025, 1.8% in 2026.
Oh my god, that's so bad.
In 2027,
even for
1.5%
like
in 2028,
even for
1.6%
bullshit
in
economic theory
2029.
where it's like line go up,
And the
this is
OBR
so bad. Like,
Yeah.
it's a sluggish
know.
horse.
The economy, boosting long-term growth.
Oh my god.
Every budget. It may sound shocking to them,
Right.
but this government is boosting long-term economic growth.
Oh my god, I hate them.
Every budget that I deliver will be focused on our mission to grow the economy.
Grow the economy? Surely we had that. Secure growth? No, with secure growth.
Developed and delivered alongside business, all driven forward by our excellent
Right,
financial
tackling
secretary
economic
and
inactivity,
treasury.
which basically means
First and most important is to
People on
restore-
disability
going after people who
benefits, yeah.
currently aren't
That is
working.
my
Yeah.
focus today.
Like,
This was always going to be, I think, what we saw
Increasing
today.
investment and building
And just so that
new
people
infrastructure
know,
is
Yeah.
vital
even though we're going to
for
take like
So
the
we are
piss a little bit,
capitalising 70 billion
I've got a
pounds of
big
investment
list
through our
of
national
resources
wealth fund.
and mutual
And we
aid
are
groups for
transforming our
people
planning rules
who
to get
are
Britain
disabled,
building
either
again.
on
To
benefits
ensure
or
that all
not,
parts of the UK
that can be
realise
shared
their
around and has like a list
We are
of
working with the devolved governments and partnering
many
with
different
our
kinds
men
of
to
spaces
develop
that people
local
can
roles.
access,
Fourth,
which
to
is
improve
probably a good
employment
thing to keep
prospects and
around
skills,
for the
we
next
are
couple of
creating
years if
Skills
things get
England,
scary.
delivering our plans to make work pay and tackling economic inactivity.
Yeah, economic inactivity.
We are launching our long-term modern industrial strategy and expanding opportunities for our small and medium-sized businesses to grow. Sixth, to drive innovation, we are protecting record funding for research and development to harness the
Okay.
full potential of the UK's science base. And finally, to maximise the growth benefits of our clean energy mission, we have confirmed key investments such as carbon capture and storage.
I think
to
that's
create
clean.
jobs in our
Maybe
industrial
not
heartlands.
superpower.
Our approach is already having an impact. Just 2 weeks ago, we delivered an
Balanced
international
budget.
investment summit,
29,
which saw businesses
30.
commit £63.5 billion of investment into our country.
Yes, Elron.
creating
Yeah, it
nearly
is in the Discord at the
40,000 jobs
moment.
across the United Kingdom. But we cannot undo 14 years
Well,
of
and
damage in
wages
one
are
go.
terrible in the UK.
Economic
I don't
growth
think
will
people
be
realise
our
how
mission
low the
for the
wages are in
duration
the
of this
UK,
parliament.
comparatively speaking.
Yeah.
We are a low wage.
It's that like sorry, I was gonna say it's like that double header
Yeah.
of having
We're the worst.
like,
We're the
and
worst
the
of
extra
any
sort of, like,
any
pressure
form
of
of social
things costing
democracy.
more.
Yeah, literally, things cost more, relatively high taxation, nothing to show for it, low wages.
Yeah.
From this amalgam of just the worst
We will meet this
fucking
rule in
austerity,
2029-30
wannabe American
until that becomes the
bullshit,
third year of the
which is
forecast.
are these
From then on,
conservatives
we will balance
potentially?
the current budget in the third year of every budget held annually each autumn. That will provide a tougher constraint on day-to-day spending, so that difficult
She's so
decisions
boring.
cannot be constantly delayed or deferred.
Yeah.
The OBR say that the current budget
horrible.
will be in deficit by £26.2 billion in 2025-26 and £5.2 billion in 2026-27, before moving into surplus of £10.9 billion in 2027-28.
How are they going to have a surplus?
£9.3 billion
How?
in
What are they basing that on? I don't buy that for a
and
fucking
£9.9
second.
billion in 2029-30.
I don't understand
Cut.
it, to be honest with you.
Cut.
They're saying they're like going to balance the budget, and that's not going to obviously
Monthly public
come into
sector
like
finance
2029.
data
But
show that government borrowing in the first 6 months of
if
this
they're
year
taking the
was already
same
running
kind of strategy
significantly higher
towards
than the
like
OBR's March forecast.
borrowing,
And so the
it
OBR
sort of
confirmed
tends
today
to me that
that
like,
borrowing in this
well,
financial
you
year
can't
is now
invest in something in sort of like a
127
national
billion
infrastructure way
reflecting the
and
inheritance
not
left by the
borrow
party
more than you're spending
Exactly,
if
yeah.
you're trying to get yourself out of a hole.
I feel like
In the next cash
so
requirement in 2024-25
Norway has had a budget
is lower
surplus
than the
alongside
increase in borrowing
high
at
wages and
22.3
taxation for the
billion
past
pounds
3
higher
years,
than the spring
including their
forecast.
wealth tax,
Because of the
which
action
people will
that
lie
we are
to you and
taking,
tell
Yeah.
you
borrowing falls
lost
from
them money.
4.5% of GDP this year
There's
to
already been enough
2.1%
new
of
millionaires
GDP
in
by the end
Norway
of the
that they've
forecast.
actually made the money back
Public
already,
sector net borrowing
and they're still
will
in
be
a budget
£105.6
surplus.
billion in 2025-26,
They set up their sovereign wealth fund in the
88.5 billion
60s.
in 2026-27,
That's why they're reaping all of this.
72.2
They made
Yeah.
billion
investments and
2027-28,
commitments to their people, regardless of whether you
71.9
think it's
billion
enough, you know,
2028-29,
decades and decades,
70.6
generations
billion
ago,
pounds in
actually, because
2029-2030.
there was some pretty smart people in government at the
Madam
time.
Deputy Speaker,
This idea that we're going to get into surplus on the merit of like growth
Yeah.
and good jobs and anything for working people is bullshit. This has to be from cuts. It has
Oh,
to
no,
be from
I'm-
cuts.
Yeah, no, I can't see it being anywhere else. If you're not borrowing to invest, and even though like you're saying that you're going to be borrowing more, like there are mixed messages all.
Yeah.
In, like,
It feels
every
like
bit of it. And
austerity
the
with
invest
this-
summit for me is the thing.
I will shortly be appointing
Sorry, my internet
our
went a bit
COVID
poopy
corruption
then.
So oh, don't worry.
We will lead our work to uncover those companies that used a national emergency to line their own pockets.
Yeah, it feels like it's using the veneer of growth and investment to hide actual just cuts.
And I can confirm today that David Goldstone has
Yeah,
been appointed
yeah, no,
as
it's
the
a-
chair of
I
the
think
new
that's a good
Office for
take.
Value for Money to help us
Well, I
realise the
mean,
benefits from every pound
I
of public spending.
would want to look very
Today, I
closely
am
at
also
the
taking
projections.
3 steps to ensure
Where is this
that
extra
welfare
wealth
spending
coming
is
from?
more
Do you know what I
sustainable.
mean?
First, we inherited the last government's plan.
I think
to
what's
reform the
like,
work
if anything's
capability
going to
system.
happen on that
We
front,
will deliver those
I would
savings
suggest
as
it would
part of our
be
fundamental
like,
reforms to the health
I'm not
and
even going to say
disabilities
backdoor
benefit system
privatization,
that
but
my
straight
right
up
honourable
Oh, yeah,
privatization.
PFI
But
at
like,
best, yeah.
you take out a massive amount of money, you put out an existing service to contract. The company who are doing it, say in the NHS for scanners or whatever else department that you want to do, like radiology, they're going to be saying, oh yeah, well we can do it cheaper.
Oh,
We
specialist
can do it more
services,
efficiently.
yeah.
We can do it with more throughput. And then what you do is you cut the actual NHS budget and say, well, this costs us less. We can do more with it. And ultimately, like, I guess we're not going to see that bore out in sort of changes.
I mean, and also that costs us more as well. Like,
Yeah.
public money for private purses is going to be the way. I mean, that's already, you know, the green British energy thing is just a like eco Ponzi scheme essentially for Britain. It's private at the moment. There's apparently sorry, hold on.
Before a government
Reduce the
considers
benefits
any
bill?
change to a tax rate or threshold, it must ensure
Oh,
that people
right.
pay what they already owe. So we will invest to modernise HMRC using the very best technology and recruit additional HMRC compliance and debt staff. We will clamp down on those umbrella companies who exploit workers, increase the interest rate on unpaid tax debt to ensure that people pay on time, and go after the promoters.
I'm not
of
against
tax
that per
schemes.
se. Whether it will work or they'll just
These
move their
measures to
assets
reduce the
offshore,
tax
I don't
gap
know.
raised £6.5 billion by the end of the forecast. And I want to thank the Exchequer Secretary for his outstanding work on this agenda. Madam
Oh my
Deputy
God,
Speaker,
Keir looks so miserable.
I know that for working people up and down our country, family finances are stretched.
Working people.
And paychecks don't go as far
That's
as they
good.
once did. So today, I
For
am
working
taking
people,
steps
for
to
working
support
people we
with
had
the
on
cost
our
of living.
bingo.
It was the Labour government
Excellent.
that introduced the national minimum wage in 1999. It had a transformative impact on the lives of working people. As promised in
How
our
will this
manifesto,
affect those on
we asked the Low Pay Commission to take account of the
dodgy
cost of living
contracts
for
with
the
things
first time.
like
I can
Deliveroo
confirm that we will
and
accept
Uber?
the Low Pay Commission recommendation to increase the national living wage by
I don't think they
6.7%
work
to
in that way
£12.21 an hour.
because they.
No, well, I mean, like the
Work up
national
to
insurance contributions and stuff are
£1,400
going to
a
be
year for a full-time worker.
not going to be
And for
applicable
the
because a lot of the
first time,
time those
we will
workers
move towards a
aren't
single
considered
adult rate phased in over
employees; they're
time.
contractors.
By
Exactly,
initially
they have to
increasing
sign
I
like
guess
the
we'll see
national
about that.
minimum wage for 18 to 20-year-olds by 16.3%.
So if the
recommended
case
by
is
the
that
Low
like
Pay
national
Commission,
insurance contributions are going to
taking
go
it
up
to
and your
£10 an
class
hour.
as a contractor,
A Labour policy
then
to
obviously
protect
your
working
national
people
insurance
being
contributions are going to be
delivered by a
paid. You're going to have to
Labour
pay more.
government once again.
Yeah, the gig economy, basically, yeah.
Second,
Can you rent a
I've
house
heard
for £10 an
representations from
hour?
colleagues
A bit
across
more
this
than that, I
House
can
about the
imagine.
carers allowance and the impact of the current policy on carers looking to increase the hours that they work, including from the honourable members for Shipley, the honourable member for Scarborough and Whitby.
Yeah, like
and
the
Right
Pimlico
Honourable Member
Plumbers
for
was one of the
Kingston and
biggest cases.
Surbiton Carers
Elron.
allowance currently provides up to £81.90 per week.
The
to help
legislation
those
did
with
change a
additional
couple of
caring
years ago,
responsibilities.
but in
Today,
effect,
I can
it
confirm
hasn't
that
been
we are
widely
increasing the
adopted, especially
weekly
by like, a lot of the
earnings
app
limit
stuff.
to the equivalent of 16 hours at the national living wage per week, the largest increase in carers allowance since it was introduced in 1976. This means that a carer can now earn over £10,000 a year while receiving carers allowance, allowing them to increase their hours where they want to and keep more of their money.
So for those who are confused,
I am also concerned about the cliff edge in
often
the
when you are
current system
using
and
these
the
kind
issue
of benefits in
overpayment.
the UK or
My
being a
right honourable
carer,
friend, the Work
often
and
to
Pensions Secretary, has announced
family,
an independent
you can earn
review
a
to
certain
look at the
amount
issue of overpayments,
and then
we will work
you
across
stop
this
receiving
House to
benefits
develop
and they've
the
just
right solution.
raised the amount that
Third,
people can
we will
work
provide
up
£1
to
billion
16
from
hours
next year
at
to extend the household
minimum
support
wage,
fund and discretionary
which-
housing payments to help
And there
those
were some
facing
big
financial
scandals actually
hardship
recently
with the cost of essentials.
with people
Four,
stopped
having
and
heard
asking
representations
for
from the
payments
Joseph Rowntree
back
Foundation, Trussell and
miscalculations.
others to reduce the level of debt repayments that can be taken from a household's universal credit payment each month by reducing it from 25% to 15% of their standard allowance. This means that 1.2 million of the poorest households will keep more of their award each month, lifting children out of poverty, and those who benefit will gain an average of £420 a year.
wow.
Madam Deputy Speaker, our plan to make work pay will also protect working people. I know that the party opposite are deeply interested in our plans here. Having seen their colleagues repeatedly dismissed at short notice, I know that they are worried about their future under the Right Honourable Member for North West Essex. So they should rest easy, knowing that our plan will protect working people from unfair dismissal. It will safeguard them from bullying in the workplace. And it will improve their access to paternity and maternity leave.
We should
I
have
hope that the new
paternity
Shadow
leave
Cabinet
on
will soon
parity
be grateful
with
for these
maternity leave.
increased protections
Fathers need
and-
the same rights. Any increase
It
is
right
welcome,
that we protect
but
those who have worked all their lives.
Yeah,
our
it
manifesto,
should,
we
like,
promised to
if we're talking
transfer
about
the
equality,
investment
it's not a
reserve fund
difficult
in the
thing to
mine
do,
workers'
is it?
pension scheme to members.
Holy shit. Good for you,
And
Dave.
I have listened closely
Wow.
to my honourable friends.
Mushroom
Thank you very much, Mushroom.
apothecary.
Central, Blanau Gwent, and Air
Yeah,
Karen
cheers for the gift
Incumbent
subs, and you've
on
managed to
this
get a
issue.
friendly pylon,
Today, we are
anonymous
keeping our promise,
not
so that
to a
working people who powered our
substance
country
factor.
receive
Anonymous
the fair
benefactor.
Esther and
protection that they are
Angel,
owed.
no, Esther T. Anal,
Our manifesto
Anna.
committed
Oh
to the
Jesus
triple
Christ, I got the
launch.
names
We
wrong.
need to ensure the state pension is
On the
forecast
mind.
to rise by
Yeah, clearly.
£1 billion
I apologise.
by
I apologise,
2029-30.
Mystery Summer.
To ensure that our pensioners are
MX
protected
Matty
in their
B
retirement.
and
This commitment means that
Cobb
while
Soy
working
Crisps
age benefits
01.
will be uprated in line
My
with
God.
CPI
Thank you,
at
Mushroom. That's incredibly
1.7%,
kind of you for your
the
generosity.
basic and new state pension will be uprated by 4.1% in 2025
Yeah,
and 26.
pensions being raised.
This means that over 12 million pensioners
Where is their
will gain
big
up to
fucking
£470 next
industry
year,
investment
up to
stuff, though?
£275
Where's the
more
good paying
than if
jobs
uprated
coming
by
from? Where's the
inflation.
revitalisation? Where's the
pension
structural
credit
change to the
standard
British
minimum
economy?
guarantee will also rise
What the fuck
by
is this?
4.8%, from around
Rockstar are going to release
£11,400 per
GTA
year
6 at
to
some
around
point.
I
think that's the
And
answer.
that'll be it. That'll
for a
save
single
us.
pensioner.
That'll save us.
While I've sought
Yeah.
to protect working people,
The only bit of the
measures to
tech
reduce
industry that
the
we
cost
have
of
in this
living,
fucking
I've had to
country.
take some very difficult
Yeah, no,
Except
pension
obviously
does
financial
need
services.
to go
I
up,
want to
Elron.
set out
It's
my
more.
approach to fuel duty.
All of this
Hmm.
is very like
Baked into the
snapshot
numbers
policies.
that I inherited from the previous
Oh!
government is an
Thank you for the
assumption
bit.
that fuel duty will
Cheers,
rise
Mushroom.
by RPI next year,
What a star.
and that the temporary 5p cut will be reversed. To retain the 5p cut.
Hello,
and
it's
to
a
freeze fuel
Dean.
duty again,
Where is the
which
showing
cost
knowledge when growth
over
happens
£3
when the
billion
government invests?
next year.
Well, where
At a
is
time
it
when the
showing
fiscal
knowledge
position
that growth
is so
happens when the
difficult?
government
I
invests?
have to be frank with the
Literally
House
the
that this is a
entirety of
substantial
Keynesian
commitment to
economic
make.
theory and
I have
the
concluded
emergence of the
that in these
largest middle
difficult
class in
circumstances,
Europe.
while the cost of living
which
remains high, and with a
There's a lot
backdrop
more
of
to it than
global
that, but in
uncertainty,
short,
increasing fuel duty
mass
next year
industrialisation
would
and
be the wrong
growth
choice
after
for
World War
working
II.
It would mean fuel duty rising by
What's the
7%.
pension
I mean,
age
we're a
there now?
deindustrialised
So
economy.
I have decided
That's the
today
problem,
to
Dave. That's
freeze
what I'm
fuel
saying.
duty next year,
It's a
and
service
I will
economy
make
with
You're
like
like, we've
8%.
outsourced everything.
We've outsourced everything. We've got like 8% industry in this country or something as a part of the wider like different kinds of markets and stuff. It's ridiculous. 8%.
The last government made cuts of £20
Well, I mean, this is why
billion
everyone's
to
talking about like
Hey,
how
Mel.
dollar hegemony is going to collapse, because if they can't manufacture anything and they start sort of like putting trade sanctions on every motherfucker around the world, especially when it comes to China, and they haven't got the manufacturing base back home to
There's
look for
nothing
the goods
to
and services
draw
they might
back
need
on,
to
yeah.
do, because they can't grow in time, you know?
What
That's why they
is the
can't win a war
pension
in
age in
Ukraine.
the
That's why
UK?
they can't like fund anything else.
I doubt cuts to Ukraine are happening here.
Pay and see in their payslips. But I have made an important choice today. To keep every single commitment that we made on tax.
Is it
in our
slightly
manifesto.
different for men and women? I can't remember. 66 for
I
both
say
men
to
and
working
women.
people, I will not
I think
increase
it's
your national
parity now, I
insurance.
believe.
I will not increase your
Oh, no,
VAT,
it changed to
and I will not
67
increase
for
your
women, I
income
think, didn't
tax.
it? 67 by
Working
2036.
people will not see higher taxes in their payslips as a result of the choices that I am making.
Yeah,
today.
okay. There are no
Right, 67 by
Is a promise
2026.
made.
there are
The
no
promise fulfilled.
income tax raises, which
But
for anyone on the lower
responsible chancellor
bracket is
would
good.
need to make difficult decisions.
I mean, I'd prefer to
To
see
raise the
increased.
revenues required to fund our public
Wasn't it
services
lowered
and
under
to
the
restore
Tories as well?
economic stability. So in
Yeah,
today's
no,
Used to be
they
a
did. I think it
50p
was
tax rate, right?
Johnson's government
Yeah,
effectively
yeah.
did that. Yeah.
So they could have reversed that. Fuck the wealthy. They're all fucking in London buying a property anyway. Like,
Just the VAT, that's the big one, because like VAT impacts working people and like people on lower incomes more than anybody else. That's the one I think is a scary one.
This will raise £25 billion.
Wait, what was
per
that?
year
Sorry.
by the end of the forecast
I missed it.
period.
I'm just gonna go back ever so
I know
slightly.
that this is a difficult choice. Raise
Okay.
the revenues required to fund our public service make. That is a slip. Increase your VAT, and I will not see
Soon.
higher taxes in their payslips.
Yeah, yeah,
Promise
yeah.
made and a promise fulfilled.
Yeah. They're not taxing working
But
people, whatever
any
that means.
responsible chancellor would need to
Yeah.
make difficult decisions today. To raise the
Raising-
revenues required to fund our
Yeah.
public services and to restore economic stability. So in today's budget, I am announcing...
I've got a
an
hype
increase
train.
in
There was a hype
employers'
train which went on and everything, and then I completely ignored it. Like the thank you very much for the hype train and contributing.
1.2 percentage points
I'm going to open my
15%
hype chest.
from April
Apparently we have
2025.
some hype. There was
And we
hype.
will reduce
Thank you
the
very much,
secondary
Mushroom,
threshold,
for
level at
the
which employers
one-man
start paying
hype
national
army.
insurance on each
Or should I say
employee's
one-girl
salary
hype army? My
from
apologies.
£9,100 a year to £5,000. This will raise £25 billion
Okay,
per year
thanks,
by the
Mushroom.
end of
Well, I'll
the
have a look.
forecast period.
We'll
I
be
know
taking a look
that
at
this is a
that
difficult
later
choice.
on.
I do not
Because
take
at the moment
this
the
decision
budget's kind of
lightly.
like the main thing we're
We are
focusing on, but I
asking
promise you we'll
businesses
take a
to
look.
contribute more. And I know that there will be impacts of this measure felt beyond businesses too, as the OBR has set out today.
Thank you for the redemption.
But in the circumstances...
Order, Chancellor! Order! Our constituents are watching. They need to be able to hear the Chancellor.
Right.
Simmer down. Chancellor.
Simmer fuck down.
Okay.
I like
But in the
her.
circumstances that I have inherited, then they are choosing.
Oh,
more
wait, hold on.
austerity, more chaos, more instability.
Shit, where was it?
This is the choice that our country faces too. As I make this choice, I know it is particularly important to protect our smallest companies. So having heard representations
Yeah,
from the Federation of
actually
Small
do think this
Businesses
is important.
and others, I am today increasing the employment allowance from £5,000 to £10,500. This means 865,000 employers won't pay any national insurance at all next year.
That, I think, is an important... That's good. I don't even like Labour, but they
Yeah.
needed to do that. They needed to apply at least broadest shoulders
over
national
1 million
insurance
will pay the
increases,
same
because
or less
genuinely,
than they did
if we have this
previously.
system as it is at the moment,
This
if you
will
make
allow
your
a
local
small business
chippy
to employ the
pay
equivalent
national
of
insurance for the
4
part-time
full-time
worker,
workers
that
on the
is going to
national living
impact
wage
things.
without paying
It's going to
any
make their
national insurance
overheads
on their-
more expensive, you know.
Madam Deputy
Yeah,
Speaker,
no, completely.
let me now come to
If we
capital
have to
gains
do it
tax.
this way, I'd prefer
We need
that
to drive growth.
it's your
promote
fucking
entrepreneurship
corporations,
and
right, and
support
large
wealth
businesses
creation,
that
while raising
have to
the revenue
pay
required to fund our
more
public
than anyone
services
else.
and restore our public
Small business,
finances.
well, I
Today,
think that
we
that's
will
been
increase
changed
the
by
lower
this.
rate of capital gains tax from 10 to 18%, and the higher rate from 20 to 24%.
Good,
while
Elron, hold her
maintaining
feet to the
rates of
fire.
capital gains tax on residential property at 18 and 24% too. This means the UK will still have the lowest capital gains tax rate of any European G7 economy.
Is that right?
Alongside
I'm not sure
these
that's
changes
right.
to the
I
headline
think
rates
Ireland
of
has a
capital
lower
gains
one.
tax, we are maintaining the lifetime limit for business asset disposal relief at £1 million.
Hey, Larry, welcome
to
in.
encourage entrepreneurship.
Nice to see ya.
To
To
invest
see you,
in
nice.
their businesses.
Oh, for fuck's sake,
Business
did you
asset
miss that?
disposal relief will remain at 10% this year. before
No, I've
rising
got
to
it.
14% in
Bullshit
April
neoliberal stuff,
2025
don't worry.
And to 18% from 2026-27, maintaining a significant gap compared to
Oh,
the higher
Ireland
rate of capital
G7?
gains tax.
No.
Together, the OBR says
She said
that these
Europe,
measures
didn't she?
will raise
I could
£2.5
be
billion
wrong.
by the end of the forecast. In a sign of this government's commitment to supporting growth and entrepreneurship, we have already extended the Enterprise Investment Scheme and the venture
That
capital
might make a
for
difference.
children and
I think.
grandchildren.
Like a bad
Strongly
difference. I
Sorry,
think,
hold on.
compared to-
I'm like a
So
2
the
minutes
venture
behind
capital
you.
trust schemes
They're
to
bringing
2035.
inherited
And with our
pensions
policies,
into inheritance
support a
tax.
post-inheritance.
Because, like,
I
that was kind of
understand
excluded,
the
I think,
strongly
before.
held desire
Inherited
to pass down
pensions?
savings to children
How's that possible?
and grandchildren.
Yeah.
So I am taking a balanced
I think
approach
like
in my
things
package
like
today.
widows' pensions and
Right.
that kind of stuff.
The previous government froze inheritance tax thresholds
Because
until
the current
2028.
inheritance tax
I
is
will
like
extend that
what
freeze
300
for a
and
further 2 years
hang on, I've
until
just got some notes here on
2030.
it.
That means the first £325,000 of any estate can be
25,000.
inherited tax-free.
Before that, you don't pay
Rising
anything.
to
But if you
£500,000
but if you put in
if
on
the
top of that
estate
like a
includes
spousal
residence
pension,
passed to direct descendants.
What
that
about
And £1
kind
million
of
pounds
bumps up
Insurance
people
if
who
someone's-
like it
is
kind of
passed
they'll
to a
bump you up by an
surviving
awful
spouse
lot.
or
Yeah.
civil partner. Second,
Sorry, you were
we
saying?
will close the loophole created by the previous government. made
Insure.
even
What
bigger
about
when the
payouts for
lifetime
insurance for
allowance
things
was
like
abolished, by bringing
widows due
inherited pensions
to
into
like I don't know, they have
inheritance
like a
tax from
or
April
widowers
2027.
for veterans or
Finally,
something, or
we will
people
reform
who've passed
Yeah, that-
early.
relief and
Would it-
business
would it-
relief.
does it-
that would probably be
From
included as
April
well.
2026, the first £1 million of combined business and agricultural assets will continue to attract no inheritance tax at all.
Great.
But for assets
Bastards.
over £1 million,
Literally, why?
50% relief at an effective rate of 20%.
What?
This will ensure that we continue to protect small
Tax
family
on
farms.
poverty, that's what
Yeah,
it
it's
is.
a tax on poverty and farmers.
on poverty.
Farmers
With three
who won't
quarters
vote
of
for you
claims
anyway
unaffected by these
have
changes.
talked her ear off about how hard it is to be a
That we will
farmer, you
apply a
know?
50% relief
And how
in
my
all
child needs to
circumstances
inherit
on
my
inheritance
land.
tax for shares on the alternative investment market
Great.
and other similar markets.
Broadest shoulders,
setting the effective
okay, I
rate
guess
of
not
tax at
anymore.
20%. Taken
My
together,
farm is
these
safe.
measures raise over £2 billion
Great.
by the final year of the
The
forecast.
farm that I definitely
The
own.
small holding.
I can confirm that the government will renew the tobacco duty escalator for the remainder of this parliament at RPI plus 2%. Increase
passenger
duty by a
duty.
further 10% on hand-rolling tobacco this year. Introduce safety. Deputy Speaker, we want to support the take-up of electric vehicles. So I will maintain the incentives for electric vehicles in company car tax from 2028 and increase the differential between fully electric and other vehicles in the first-year rates of vehicle excise duty from
Private
April
jets.
2025.
Here we go.
These measures will raise
Budget
around
this,
£200 million
bitch.
by the end of the forecast
Hi,
period.
bunny.
Madam Deputy Speaker, let me update the House on our plans for air passenger duty. And I can see it's kept up with inflation in recent years. So we are introducing an adjustment, meaning an increase of no more than
450
£2
quid
But I
for a
am
private
taking a
jet, like
different approach.
increase on passenger duty on fucking jets.
Great.
Private
Wait,
jets.
private though.
That's wild.
Increasing the rates-
Like that's gonna.
increasing the
It's not
rates of
actually gonna
air
do anything. If
passenger
you're a
No,
billionaire, you don't
yeah.
give a shit about like a couple of
50%.
grand.
That is equivalent to £450 per passenger for a private jet.
Wow.
To say,
How could they ever
California?
afford that, Dave?
I know.
California?
You know, you own a Gulfstream jet, and the
Just
one
wait.
thing that you're
Yeah,
worried
exactly,
about most
yeah,
of all
yeah.
is
Just wait and see how much they cut
duty
Pitt.
on the passengers.
This is
A
what I'm
major
worried
source of
about,
concern
genuinely.
is business rates.
If they're like,
From
oh, we're getting
2026
450 quid a
we
year from
intend to
some
introduce
bullshit,
two
or per
permanently
trip
lower
or
tax
whatever,
rates
but
for
also we're
retail,
going to cut
hospitality
Pitt.
and leisure property,
My biggest
which make
fear
up the
is if they
backbone
get
of
rid
our
of
high
Pitt
streets
and make
across
it a
the
different
country.
kind of payment. If
And
they
it is
do
our
that,
intention that it is paid
I
for
can't
by a
pretend and
higher
joke
multiple
anymore, Dave. I'm
for the
too
most
scared.
valuable properties.
No,
The
no,
previous
I
government created a
understand.
cliff edge
Yeah,
next
no,
year as
like
temporary reliefs
it's
end.
like as much
So
as
I
we
will
are
today
making light of it,
provide
there is this
40%
kind of
on
like a
business
very
rates
serious
for the
budget.
retail, hospitality, and
Depending
leisure
on what
Especially
they
with
do
what they've done with
with
winter
duty
fuel
free.
allowance.
Exactly.
Like, I mean, my
up to a
God,
cap
that was
of
like the biggest blow.
£110,000 per business.
The thing is, it
Alongside
is a
this,
policy
the small
that
business tax multiplier will be
I
frozen
can understand
next
if
year.
you had a cut-off point
Next, I
on
can
like
confirm
earnings,
that
pension
alcohol
earnings or
duty
something
Yeah.
for
on
it,
non-draft
but it needs to be
products
much higher
will
because we're just
increase in
creating
line
another
with
squeezed
RPI
middle
from
of
February next
pensioners,
year.
basically.
But nearly
Because some
two-thirds
people
of
don't
alcoholic
need it,
drinks
right?
sold
But
in
I mean, there are
pubs
so many
served on
cases of
draft.
people who are just on that
Today,
edge.
instead of
you know?
Exactly,
promoting
and they're
these
going to
products
be
in line
really
with
hurt.
inflation,
And it's like,
I am
why
cutting draft
are you
duty
throwing
by
them under the
1.7%.
bus, which you're also increasing the price of? Like being a passenger on said bus
And
by
I
a
guess-
pound.
I mean, like, this is why, like, I'm completely against this idea. If you're going to do this whole, like, social democracy thing where you're going to have programs, like, the simple fact is that they've got to be universal programs, because if you're not doing universal programs like that, like the NHS, you're setting yourself up to be slashed and burned. And their willingness to kind of
Yeah.
do away with that under winter fuel
And the
is like
barrier, also they waste
my concern that
shit
everything else is
tons
going to
of
become
money
like
on
means tested, means
yeah,
tested, means
literally,
tested.
literally, same brain cell.
To drive
Like,
innovation.
they will spend more
Yeah.
money
Madam
trying to
Deputy
understand
In our
how
manifesto,
to
we made
means
a
test
number of
it than
commitments
saving
to raise
anything,
funding
because
for our public
like the
services.
benefits are just needed.
First, I've
Full
always
stop.
said, if you make
Like,
Britain your home,
They've cut solidarity. They're going after rich private jet owners.
So today,
Corporation tax, such
we will abolish the non-dom tax regime.
Yeah, they don't. The
This was
thing
a-
about the corporation tax is one of the reasons they say that corporation tax is so low, right? This is the definitive reason why corporation tax is like set at such a low rate is because there are so many loopholes to be able to not pay corporation tax.
While closing the loopholes in the scheme
So
designed by the
I don't
party
like. I'm not sure putting up is going to do
to further
anything
encourage
except
investment into the UK.
have
Well-
5% more, I don't know, accountants involved in trying to,
Yeah.
like find more loopholes to get out of paying corporation tax, you know?
They have just said that they're going to try and close the loopholes. I just have to see what that means in practice for the exact reasons that you've just given.
Pounds over the next 5 years.
Yeah.
Next, the fund management industry provides a vital contribution to our economy.
Fund
As our
management
manifesto
industry.
sets out, there needs
Bankers.
to be a fairer approach
Fund
to the way that
management
carried interest
industry.
So we will
Oh my
increase
God.
the capital gains rates
Good.
on carried interest to 32% from April 2025. And from April 2026, we will deliver further reform to ensure that the specific rules for carried interest are simpler, fairer and better targeted. In our manifesto, we committed to reforming stamp duty land tax to raise revenues while supporting those buying their first home. We are increasing the stamp duty land tax surcharge for second homes, known as the higher
What's it
rate
currently?
for additional dwellings, by 2 percentage points
Oh,
to
wow.
5%, which will come
Really
into
the
effect
broadest
from tomorrow.
shoulders. Okay.
This will support over
Right.
130,000 additional transactions from people buying their first home or moving home
How?
over the next 5 years.
How?
Next. we
No,
are committed
you've
to
just said
reform
you've
the
created a
energy
pool
Yeah.
of money, not
on oil
how
and
will it
gas
help
companies.
people access
I
housing.
can confirm today that we will increase the rate of the levy to 38%, which will now expire in March 2030. And we will remove
Yeah,
the 29%
imagine a
investment
fucking
allowance
Robin Hood
to
tax
ensure
here.
that the oil and gas industry can protect jobs and
Oh,
support
my
our
goodness.
energy security. So we will maintain the 100% first-year allowances and the decarbonisation allowances too. Finally, 94% of children in the UK attend state schools. To provide the highest quality of support and teaching that
I
they
mean, this is
deserve,
good at least. They
we will
finally
introduce
closed this
VAT on
bullshit.
private school fees from January 2025.
Good.
And we will
This is
shortly
horseshit.
introduce legislation to remove business rates relief from April 2025.
Exactly.
too.
What's wrong with them taxing
We
private
said in our
schools?
manifesto
It's better than
that
what
these
there was
changes,
before, which is just
alongside
letting
our
them
measures
leech
to
your
tackle
money
tax avoidance,
and being
would
charity
bring in
status.
£8.5 billion in the final year of the forecast.
If you say it's
I
not
can
enough,
confirm today
I
that
agree.
they
My
will in fact
expectations
raise
are like
over
fuck
£9
all
billion
for these people. So
to support our public services and restore our public finances. That
Ooh.
is a promise made and a promise fulfilled. Madam Deputy Speaker, I have one final decision to take on tax today. The previous government froze income tax and national insurance thresholds in 2021, and then they did so again after the mini-budget. Extending their threshold freeze
Okay.
for a further 2 years raises billions of pounds. Money to deal with the black hole in our public finances.
oh my god, black
and
hole.
repair our public services. Having considered this issue closely, I have come to the conclusion that extending the threshold
Hello,
freeze
Morton.
would hurt working people.
Dave, I'm over here with the gays. Lovely to see you,
Every
Morton.
single promise on
Welcome
tax
in.
that I made in our manifesto. So
Hi, Morton babes.
no extension of the freeze in income tax and national insurance thresholds beyond the decisions by the previous government. From 2028-29, personal tax thresholds will be uprated in line with inflation once again. When it comes to
God's sake.
choices on tax, this government chooses to protect working people every single
Oh,
time.
all right. What's this then?
This is just the most unambitious
Madam Deputy
bullshit.
Speaker, these are the choices
I know it's
I have
like
made.
it's
To
not doing
restore
anything
economic
for
stability
anybody, like
and to
anyone.
protect
Like
working
Yeah.
people.
business isn't really even gaining that
The
much.
next choice I make
Like,
is to begin to
From
repair
any
our
perspective that
public
you care to
services.
look at this is
Yeah.
tepid.
This is just
In recent months, we
somehow
have
bland,
conducted the
even
first
more
phase
bland
of the spending
mediocrity
review
than I ever
to
imagined.
set departmental budgets for 2024-25
Deep
and
technocratic bollocks.
2025-26. And I want to thank my right honourable friend, the Chief Secretary to the Treasury, for his tireless work with colleagues from
God, they're
across
such
government.
fucking dorks.
Because I have taken difficult decisions on tax today, I am able to provide an injection of immediate funding over the next 2 years to stabilise and to support our public services. The
Exactly
next phase
how?
of the spending review will report in late spring, and I have set the overall envelope today. Day-to-day spending from 2024-25 onwards will grow by 1.5% in real terms. And today, departmental spending, including capital spending, will grow by 1.7% in real terms.
Okay,
At the
but
election,
for
we
what
promised
end?
there would be no return to austerity. Today, we deliver on that promise.
And what growth
But
does she
given the
mean?
scale of the challenge that
Because
we are
if that's
facing
tied to
in our
inflation,
public
that is
It's also
cut.
nebulous.
that means there will still be difficult choices in the next phase of
Yeah,
the spending
it
review.
is, isn't it? It's
Just
like,
as we cannot tax
I'm
and
going-
spend our way to prosperity.
is
nor
this a
can we
budget for
simply
civil
spend our way
servants?
to better public
Like,
services. So
we will hire
deliver a
more
new
accountants,
to
and
public
that is how
service
we will
reform,
rebuild
using
Britain.
technology to improve public services
Or
and taking a zero-based approach.
Keep
so that
teachers,
taxpayers'
more
money is
teachers.
spent
This is
as
what we're getting.
effectively as possible. And so we focus on delivering our key priorities. In the first phase of the spending review, I have prioritised day-to-day funding to deliver on our manifesto commitments. I want every child to have the very best start in life and the
AI.
best possible start
Come
to
on,
the
say
school
it.
day too.
AI.
And
Yeah.
I know
Say it. Robot teachers, come on!
ChatGPT-5.
So I am today tripling investment in breakfast clubs to fund them in
Invest in
thousands of
tablet
schools.
manufacturing in Taiwan.
I
Hey,
am
we're getting
increasing the
some
core schools budget
breakfast
by £2.3 billion
clubs, but I
next
doubt
year
it's-
to support our pledge to hire
think
thousands more teachers
Yeah.
into
Child
key
cap
subjects.
benefits would have been
So that our
better.
young
Child
people
benefit
can
cap,
develop the
sorry.
skills that they
Would have been a
need for
better
the
approach,
future.
but all
I'm
right.
providing an additional £300 million.
Yeah, no,
for
absolutely.
further
But they wouldn't
education.
go near that with a fucking barge.
Yeah,
pole,
they
would
need to do. They need to do a
This
report
government
on
is
it
committed
first.
to reforming special educational needs provision.
Yeah, lengthy report.
To
Let it sit in
improve
committee
outcomes
for a bit. Let it
Yeah.
cook. Let it
Vulnerable
cook.
children,
And then
to
say
ensure
we're
that
going to
the
give it to
system
you
is
in next
financially
in the next
sustainable.
term,
To
and then in
support
the
that
next
work,
term say,
I
well,
am
we're still
today
looking into it.
providing
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
£1
Well, our
uplift in
reports
funding,
came up with
a
we need to pay
6%
civil
real terms
servants more
increase
money
from
for some
this year.
unknown reason.
There is no more important job for government than to keep our country safe.
Oh,
And we are
fucking
conducting
hell.
a strategic defence review to be published next year. And as set out in our manifesto, we will set a path to spending 2.5% of GDP.
Oh
on
my
defence
God! So they're
NATO,
using Russian
NATO,
stolen assets.
Today, I am
Fucking to fund the
announcing a total
G7.
increase to the
Wicked.
Ministry of Defence's
Great. We
budget
love it. Love
of
it.
£2.9 billion next year.
Very fair and just
Ensuring
notion.
that the UK comfortably exceeds our NATO commitments and providing
Russia's
guaranteed
going through a
military
period of
support to
really
Ukraine
big kind of
of
growth
£3
actually
billion
at the
per
moment.
year
The last
for as
2
long
years,
as it takes.
especially since the sanctions.
They've
They've
just been
been,
able
like,
to reorganise
experiencing
their
wild
economy.
domestic growth.
Yeah.
I announced an addition
Oh
to
no,
this
absolutely,
further
and
support to Ukraine
as well. If
on
you look
top
at it
of
in
our
terms of
NATO
purchasing power parity,
through our £2.26
especially
billion
when it comes to military spending and that kind of
to the
thing, they're
G7's
way
Extraordinary
ahead
Revenue
of
Acceleration Agreement,
the US. Same with China as
using
well.
profits from immobilised Russian sovereign assets. And as we approach Remembrance Sunday, it is vital that we take time to remember those who have served our country so bravely. So I am today announcing funding to commemorate the 80th anniversary of VE and
Just
VJ
Chris
Day next year,
stuck 'em up back.
to honour those who have served at home and abroad.
Great. I mean, could
must
we have
also
some
remember
veteran,
those who experienced
specialist
the
veteran
atrocities of the
services?
Nazi
No.
regime firsthand.
No, we get,
I
but
would
we
like
get
to
a
pay
day
tribute
to
to
celebrate
Lily
all the
Ebert,
dead people
the
that don't
Holocaust
exist anymore.
survivor and educator who passed away
Yeah.
aged 100 earlier this month.
It would be really nice if you
I'm today
applied the
committing
understanding
a
of the
further £2
Holocaust
million
to the current
for
regime
Holocaust
in
education
Israel.
next year,
But apparently,
so that charities
that's
like
gonna
the
fall on
Holocaust
deaf ears.
Educational Trust can continue
No,
their
because
work
we need
to ensure
investment.
that
We
Yeah,
need
yeah,
like,
yeah,
to
yeah,
invest
yeah.
and invest
Are
and
not
invest.
lost and are
Invest and
preserved
invest.
for the
Let's
future.
come Elbit systems.
Madam Deputy
No
Speaker,
doubt.
to repair our public services, we also need to work alongside our mayors and local leaders. We will deliver a significant real funding increase
Right.
to local governments
Lovely.
next year.
Because
Okay.
the people who go and do
£1.3 billion
shoplifting,
additional
we know
grant
that they're on
funding
really
to
high
deliver
incomes. We know that they go and
essential
steal like
services, with
Mercedes-Benz
£600
and
million in grant
Chanel
funding
number
for social
5 and
care, and £200
hell, this is
Hooray.
insane. This is just like
to
basically it's
tackle
like basic
homelessness and
necessities,
rough
food
sleeping.
and that kind of thing.
Yeah,
We are
remember,
today
chat,
confirming
if you
that Greater
saw someone
Manchester
steal
and the
baby
West Midlands
food,
will be
no,
the
you
first
fucking
mayoral
didn't.
authorities to receive
No,
integrated
you fucking
settlements
didn't.
from next year, giving mayors meaningful
Anything.
control
If you
of
saw
the
someone
funding
steal
for
some
their
spaghetti,
local areas.
naming no
true.
names, like I saw last week, you just don't do it. Don't fucking say anything.
I'm not allowed in a Tesco in Hackney anymore
We
because
will
I stole
scrap
some
the
shit from
effective
them.
immunity for low-value shoplifting introduced by the party.
Excellent. It's always a Tesco, isn't it?
Yeah,
They're pretty hot on it. Or at least they have in the last few years. I mean, shit, when you get to the point where people are putting security tags on blocks of cheese, I mean,
Yeah,
Jesus
it's-
Christ, there's something seriously wrong with the price
with
of
Britain,
cheese.
yeah.
Our police officers and retailers. Finally, I am today providing funding to support public services and drive growth across Scotland, Wales and Northern Ireland. Having discussed the
Well,
matter
yeah,
with the
need to
First
have a look
Minister
at
of
some of the
Wales,
figures
Eluned
behind
Morgan,
this, 'cause I
and my
feel
honourable
like
friends for Llanelli and Pontypridd.
The things that I
am
don't
today
understand
providing
where
It's all-
we're
it's all kind of
investing
in-
are very
to the
like
Welsh government next year for the
governmenty
maintenance
rather
of
than
coal tips
peoply.
to ensure that we
So
keep our
we're going to have
communities
investment
safe.
in services, but it's very
And to
nebulous
support
at the
growth,
moment, you
including
know?
in our rural areas, we will proceed with city and growth deals in Northern Ireland.
I
in Causeway
cannot
Coast
express
and Glen.
I mean,
to
how?
people
I mean, the question
how
you've got to ask
important.
is.
And we will
Sorry.
drive
Sorry, go
growth
on.
in Scotland, a key priority for Scottish Labour. And
No,
our
I
leader,
think the
Anna
question you've got to
Farnham.
ask when it comes to that is like, how much of that
Including
actual
with the city and
investment
growth
goes
deal
through
in
into sort of
Argyll and
frontline services?
Exactly.
If they're going to be investing in
provides the devolved
services,
governments with
like,
the
and how much is it
largest
like going to be
real-term
invested in
funding
services, and how much is just going to be
settlements
wasted
since
on like administrative like
Bullshit.
expenses?
AI.
And
Introducing
I'm betting it's going to be
AI.
a lot.
Pounds to the Scottish
Yeah,
government
yeah,
through
like
the Barnett formula.
contracting out like bits and
Exactly.
pieces of services that a company might
Funding
need,
which
like
must now
for
The
example,
entire care
companies who are
budget.
like
Yeah,
going
yeah.
computerized and that kind of thing.
Same, we have the same
know,
brain
like-
cell again. Like,
Like seriously.
yeah. There's
Yeah,
so
no, we're
much
on the
stuff
same
that we
page in
could
so
do
much of this
better
shit.
if we brought in-house and like had an actual fucking functioning government that cared about people, but instead we leech money by using your money at home, people who live in Britain, your tax money to give into the pockets of shareholders who provide shittier services
Madam Deputy
that
Speaker,
are like through
to
private
rebuild our
contracts and
country,
stuff
we
and
need to
tenures.
increase
There's no
investment.
talk of changing any of
The
this.
UK
There's
lags
no
behind every other
investment
7 countries
strategy,
when it
and there's
comes to
no
business investment
structural
as a share of
readjustment
our
that's
economy.
actually positive
That
and in any
matters.
way even
It
tipping
means
the
the
scale
UK has
towards
fallen
social
behind in the
democracy.
race for new
It is
jobs,
more of the same
new
with a bunch of
industries,
weird
and new
fucking
technology.
lipstick added on
By
top.
restoring economic stability and by establishing
Oh,
the
economic
The word
stability.
co-op
to catalyse
in the
private funding.
Oh, we've already had
I
that
should have
shit.
put the word
Create the
co-op
conditions that
in
Yeah,
the budget
yeah.
bingo,
to invest.
just as a funny one,
But
because
there is
it
also
would never get
significant role
said.
Yeah.
For too long, we have seen Conservative chancellors cut investment.
Invest. I'm taking that.
Plug gaps in day-to-day spending. The result is clear for all to see. Hospitals without the equipment they need. School buildings not
Yeah, a
fit
lot
for
of that
our
care
children.
sector stuff is Elron.
A desperate lack of affordable
It's
housing.
really shocking, and like recently
Economic
they've been
growth held back at every turn.
like serving out
Under the plans I
far
inherited,
out local
public
authority
investment was
services
set
to
fall
private companies
from
themselves. So yeah,
2.5%
you're going to see much
to
more of that, I think.
1.7% of GDP. But in Washington,
wasting
last
our
week,
money.
The International Monetary Fund were clear.
It's just giving
More
our fucking
public
money
investment
to
Well, I mean-
fucking
needed in
wealthy
the UK.
elites. They're just
So having
skimping the
listened
fat
to
off
But
the
I mean,
top.
it's
By the former
a straight
governor of the
transfer
Bank
of
of
wealth,
England's
which is
Mark
kind of
Is not being
and
like
forecast by the Office of Budget Responsibility
spoken
since
about
that
in that
date
way
too.
in UK services.
Net financial debt.
It's more
recognises
like
that government investment delivers
Teachers are going to be able
returns
to
for
use
taxpayers.
AI to mark
By
things,
counting not just
and
the
like somehow we're
yeah,
going to
and
fix all
nurses will be able to
NHS
fill in
problems.
forms
Financial
master or
assets
something.
This means that we count the benefits of that investment, not just the costs. And we free up our institutions to invest, just as they do in Germany, France, and Japan. Like our stability rule, our investment rule will apply in 2029-2030, until that becomes the third year of the forecast. From that point onwards, net financial debt will fall in the third year of every forecast.
It is
Today,
open
the
if it
OBR
predicts
says that we are already meeting our target.
what's
2
its
years
efficacy.
early, with net financial debt falling by 2027.
Maybe it would be good if we
with
had
£15.7 billion of headroom in the final year.
what's
So
the
that we
word?
drive
Road
the right
management
incentives
services that
in
could
government
incorporate that
investments.
if it has
We will introduce
efficacy.
4 key
but
guardrails to ensure capital spending is good.
What
value
is
for
the
money
efficacy
and
How
of
about
it,
just
you
fill
know?
some
in our
fucking
economy.
potholes? How about that?
No,
Like the roads around
robots.
here are shit.
Of new
They're
financial
fucking
investments
terrible.
will be delivered
They're
by
absolutely
expert
terrible.
bodies
The
like the
vast, the
National
grass
Wealth Fund,
verges in some places
which
grown up
must
so
by
high,
default earn a
you
rate
actually
of
can't
return
see
at
past them.
least as large as that
Like the
on
fucking
dividends.
hedges are all over the roads.
Second,
Like it's
we will
like
strengthen
I'm
the role
serious.
of
Like
institutions
we should
Yeah.
be tackling like the nuts and bolts of which makes
Yep.
society
Third,
work
we
before
will improve
any of this
certainty,
AI stuff we get
setting
into it.
capital
Like
budgets
Jesus
for
Christ, there are
5
people with
years
jobs and lives which can be
extending
saved in
them
a
at
very
every spending
conventional and
review
straightforward
every 2
way.
years.
No matter how good your
Finally,
AI
we
system
will
might
ensure
be,
that there
it
is
can't
greater
see if
transparency for
there's a
capital
tree in front of
spending,
it which is
with
like
robust
overgrown and no
annual
one's cut it in
reporting
6
of
months. You know what I
financial
mean?
investments
And it's
based on
not that
accounts
AI
audited
is
by the
useless. I
National
don't think
Audit
anyone's
Office
saying that.
and
It's
made
that
available
we're laughing
to
at
the
the
Office
fact
for
that
Budget
there are so many
Responsibility
systemic
at every
problems
forecast.
in like the NHS,
Taken
for
together
example,
with our
and
stability rule,
these guys'
these
solution is
reforms
just
Yeah, I'll agree with
magic
that. I mean,
AI.
our public
You know?
finances are on a firm footing, while enabling us to invest prudently alongside
I mean, I use
business.
Chat GTP for a few bits and
capital
pieces.
plans that
Like
I now set out
I know it's
to
I know the
drive
capabilities
growth
of
across
AI
our
are going to be
country
like
and repair the
increasingly
fabric of
important.
our nation
But
are only
it just
possible
the
because of our
fundamentals, you know,
investment
like the
Let me
fundamentals.
set out
AI
Like, you
can't do stuff in
jump
like diagnostics
Today,
care and
we are
stuff very
confirming
well.
our plans to capitalise the National Wealth
Exactly.
Fund, to invest in
Yeah,
the
funnily enough,
industries
you
of the
need
future.
people with incredibly
From
high
gigafactories
analytical
to
skills to become
ports
doctors
to
to be
green
able to do
hydrogen.
that.
Building on these investments,
Almost
my vital
like
friend, the
we
business
need to just
secretary,
train more
AI
doctors.
AI is not going to
Our
wipe
modern
anyone's
industrial
ass. You know what I mean? Like,
working with
and I mean that
businesses and
quite literally.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
a literal thing that has
to
to be
set up
done
the
by
sectors
carers.
with
You
the
know?
biggest
Exactly,
growth
yeah.
potential. Today, we are confirming multi-year funding commitments for these areas
Welcome
of
in,
our
C4
economy,
Putin.
including nearly £1 billion for the
Rialan,
aerospace
nice to
sector,
see you.
to fund vital research and development, building on our industry in the East Midlands, the South West and in Scotland. Over £2 billion for the automotive sector to support our electric vehicle industry.
That's a really
and
good point,
develop our
Larry.
manufacturing
Yeah.
base.
If you're, yeah, I mean, like
It's not
you
independent
get,
thinking
you know, you feed
machines,
shit in, get shit
yeah.
out.
And up to £520
Yeah.
million for a new
It's
life
churn
sciences innovative
information
manufacturing
in,
fund.
churn
For our
out,
world-leading
come out in
creative
a
industry,
list
we will
machine.
legislate to provide additional tax relief for visual effect costs.
It reminds
in
me of that
TV
Mitchell and
and
Webb
film.
sketch where it's
And
like,
we are
have you, you
providing
know, like they're
£25 million
all going, oh,
for
like,
the
have you
North East
checked on the
Combined
computer
Authority,
if you should
which
build
they
a
plan
wall?
to use to remediate the Crownworks studio site in Sunderland, creating 8,000 new jobs.
Crown
To
works in
unlock
Sunderland.
these growth
What's
industries
that?
of the future, we will protect government investment in research and development with more than £20 billion worth of funding. This includes
research
at
and
least
development?
£6.1 billion
What area?
to protect core research funding for areas like engineering,
Okay.
biotechnology and medical science.
I mean, the biggest thing for research would have
Research
been if they
England, other
continued
research
in with
councils
like the
and the
European
national
research and that kind of
academies.
stuff.
We will
I think there's
extend
like
the
a scientific
Innovation
research group
Accelerators
which
program
we were
in
eliminated
Glasgow,
from.
Yep.
in Manchester,
Joining that would have been
and
good,
in the
but
West
no.
Midlands.
Well,
And
actually,
with
I'm
over £500
quite
million
passionate
of
about this.
funding next
Changing
year,
the
my
way
right
that we
honourable friend, the
buy and
Science,
manufacture
Technology and
drugs
Innovation
could
Secretary,
literally
will
create
continue
an
to drive
in-house
progress
industry
in
for
improving
off-patent drugs,
reliable,
which would
fast
save the
broadband and
NHS
mobile coverage
billions a
across
year.
our country,
And then
including in
we
rural
can use that. Like Cuba has a really good model around this
We committed
of
in our
incorporating
manifesto
like
to build 1.5
some basic
million homes over
market
the course of
principles
this
about how
Parliament.
you like make a bit of
And my
profit
right honourable
from
friend, the Deputy Prime Minister,
novel
is driving
drugs
that
that's
work forward
actually
across
at
government.
R&D price,
Today,
not
I am
like
providing
shareholder
over
price,
£5
right?
billion pounds of
You try and
government
make drugs for
investment to deliver our plans on housing next year.
essentially like the
We
markets
will
of
increase
developing
the Affordable
nations.
Homes
We can
programme
do that,
to
and then we can
£3.1
also save
billion,
our
delivering
country billions,
thousands of
offer
new
cheap
homes.
pharmaceuticals to the rest of the
We will
world,
provide
and
£3
have
billion
good,
worth of
well-paid jobs
support
in the UK.
guarantees
But they don't want to do
boost the
that
supply of
because
homes and support
that
our small house
prevents
builders.
drug manufacturers from
And we
like
will provide investment
using the
to
NHS as a
renovate
free
sites
purse.
across our country, including at Liverpool Central Docks, where we will deliver 2,000 new homes, and funding to help Cambridge realise its full growth potential.
Yeah, they've
Alongside
not.
this
We've
investment,
there's not been
we
any
will
talks
put
on
the right
disability
policies in
benefits
place
yet.
to increase the supply of affordable housing.
Affordable is
Having
80%
heard
of market rate, and it's
representations
bullshit.
From local
It's
authorities,
fucking bullshit.
social housing providers, and from
No, I
shelter,
like
I
in
can
terms of
today
like
confirm
drug
that
manufacturing.
the
It just
government
makes sense
will
and like
reduce
saving
right-to-buy
money.
discounts, and local
No, but
authorities
think of
will
the
be able to
shareholders.
But
Dave.
I guess
Think
this
of
is
the
the thing
shareholders.
again. Like we always come back to the idea of like changing the
so that
means
we
and the
can
mode
reinvest
of
them back
production.
into
Until
the
then, we're
housing
always
stock
going to
and
be like
into new supply.
firing shots in the dark about what's the
By doing
least
this,
bad thing
we
which
will
can
give
come out of
more
any
a
given
safe,
circumstance for
secure,
working
and
people.
affordable place to live. We will provide stability to social housing providers with a social housing rent settlement of CPI plus 1% for the next 5 years. And we will deliver on our manifesto commitment to hire hundreds of new planning officers to get Britain building.
Bullshit. Private market
We will also make
solution to
progress on our
housing.
commitment
Nothing's
to
going to change.
accelerate
We're
the
fucked.
remediation of homes following the findings of the Grenfell inquiry, with £1 billion of investment to remove dangerous cladding next year. The last government made a number of
It's up
promises on
north.
transport,
We're gonna
but it failed to fund them.
Oh, you went full robot.
I'm like,
Working with my right honourable friend, the Transport Secretary, I am changing that. We are today securing the delivery of the Transpennine upgrades to connect York, Leeds, Huddersfield and Manchester. Delivering fully electric local and regional services between Manchester and Staley Bridge by the end of this year. With a further electrification of services
I've got Metal
between
Mickey.
Church Fenton
You went a
and
little bit
York
robot
no,
there.
you're-
2026.
But
My-
To
it's
help
just
grow our
wavering
right,
a bit
sorry.
in and out. It's not your fault, it's just
with
the internet.
faster and more reliable services.
Maybe turn the webcam
We
off
will
on,
deliver
from my
East-West
end
Rail
on
to
the
drive
pop
growth
out that
between
we got for
Oxford,
joint
Milton
screen. It might
Keynes
save
and
some
Cambridge.
like
With the
broad-
first
broad-
services running
Ah,
between
yeah.
Oxford, Bletchley
There we
and
go.
Milton Keynes next year. And trains between Oxford and Bedford running from 2030.
Activate the mosques.
Oh my gosh, sorry, we're having a raid.
Journeys for people across our country, including upgrades,
Potholes.
Bradford,
Here we go.
capacity and
Welcome, Raiders.
Hi, Globus. Welcome in, Raiders. Thank you so much. Doing a little shout out for Globus, who I met recently,
This will catalyse private
who
investment
is a
into the
space
local area, delivering
beardy
jobs
ninja
and
man
growth.
and a leftist,
I am
and
also
on all,
funding
by all accounts of what I've heard, very
significant
lovely
of
human
roads.
being. Thank you so much for bringing
Too long.
people in. I'm lesbian hot sauce. I try to combine politics with entertainment, and I'm here today with Dave, looking at the UK budget announcement by our new government, and we're struggling on the entertainment side. Struggling to make this. Oh my God, Dave! Hold on. Dave, you literally are just a robot. Let me jump. I'm going to jump in Discord. Okay. Welcome in, friends. I'm lesbian hot sauce. Dave, as you heard, is a robot. Right.
We understand how important bus
Let's give him a call.
for our communities. And so we will extend
Hey.
the cap for a further year,
Oh.
setting it at
There we
£3
go.
Oh, that's really
until
loud.
December
Yeah, okay.
2025.
Right, there we go. Got you.
We will deliver 1.3
Right, I think
billion
we're all
pounds for
sorted.
funding to improve
Yeah,
connectivity
it wasn't having any of it, mate. It was having a bit
Nah,
of
fuck-
a temper
fuck that.
tantrum. Yeah. But yeah, we're playing
Should know
bingo. We're
Twitch can't do
trying
things.
to make it
and
fun.
West Yorkshire mass transit, including in Bradford and Leeds.
In fairness, I fucking love the super tram in Sheffield. I really love tram. Like the tram in Sheffield is absolutely based.
We are delivering our mission to make Britain.
No, I'm all for like infrastructure spending and trams and trains and all those kinds of things. But I mean, like, again, it's going to be one of these like they're going to build a service for a private industry to basically
to
jack
run
up the
and then
prices up.
exactly use the
again.
Yep.
You know.
Today, I am providing funding for 11 new green hydrogen projects across England, Scotland, and Wales.
Green hydrogen projects. Green hydrogen. This again might be essentially money for private infrastructure. Again, that's just yet again stealing your money to give to a private company to develop some kind of green energy infrastructure or resource what's the word, like development,
Initiative.
right? Yeah, initiatives or something like that, and then
Like
sell it back
up a
to
hydrogen
you.
plant which will never get built, that kind of thing.
Well, yeah, and
Like
if it does,
the
it'll
EU
be
has been
owned
doing
by
so much of
a,
that lately.
yeah, it'll be owned by some fucking, probably like the French government or something, like our trains, and they'll charge you a shit ton extra for the benefit.
5 years in capital spending.
Like, unless it's owned by the government, right? Which
Yeah.
it's not going to be. The green energy, Great British energy thing is bollocks. It's just, again, more public money for private profit.
It will crowd in private
Well, it
investment,
always is, and it never comes
Yeah.
back. It always gets
and more
extracted.
opportunities in every corner of the UK.
It's like there's
That is
that
the
bottom
choice
line
that
where
I have
basically
made.
like they
invest
just want
in
to
our
keep
country
us alive
and to
as
grow
productive
our
labour,
economy.
extract our surplus, and then that bottom line obviously is going to increase as things like inflation increase. But inflation is just a way to discipline and kill people anyway.
Madam Deputy Speaker,
Yeah.
It's a grotesque cycle of exploitation.
joined the Labour Party because of the
I
condition
am
of our schools in the 1980s.
Not gonna lie,
and the
I'm still
1990s.
concerned about
Under Conservative
benefits
governments.
to disabled people,
When we were at
particularly
secondary
those
school,
who
my sixth form was a couple of
have
pre-tap
mental health
ups to the
stuff.
playground.
Which, funny
My
enough,
school, like
as
so many
Yeah, no,
others,
people
totally.
may or may not know, I just
By the
went through
last
chemo for autoimmunity. And I'm taking all of November off because my mental health is like not the best, as you can imagine, from being really sick, having to have a tribunal where I had 3 doctors drill me for questions about my disease, which was a totally dehumanizing experience. Using that money, scraping it together whilst working from bed for 3 years
Fucking
to just
hell,
stay
mate.
afloat. Do you know what I mean? Keep my head above water, and like your mental health is
Yeah.
shit.
Next year.
I can explain PIP a bit more maybe another time, but the process of it puts a lot of emphasis on mental health because of the way points are allocated. So,
St Helens Primary School in Hartlepool,
what I'm
and
concerned
Mercy
about is
Academy
if they
in
say we're
Derby,
targeting
and so
people
many
with
more
mental
across
health
our
issues.
country.
That's
And
everybody
we will
pretty much I
provide
know
2.1
that has
billion
some kind
pounds
of
more to
like
improve
disability
school
that's not being
maintenance,
supported
300
through the
million
NHS and
pounds
who
more
isn't
than
getting
this
kind
year.
of
Ensuring
good
that all
healthcare,
our children
which
can
is most
learn
people in
somewhere
Britain at the
safe,
moment.
including
So I'm really
dealing
worried
with
what.
RAC-affected
Yeah,
schools.
I'm still reserving kind of
Constituencies
judgment about whether
of
this
my
is
right honourable
positive or
friends
not.
For Watford,
I mean, it's
Stourbridge,
or
Hyndburn, and
positive
beyond.
is too strong a word.
Alongside investment in new teachers
Yeah.
and funding through
Sorry, I've
thousands
kind of
of
been
new
dealing with
breakfast
technical
clubs,
problems.
this
and
government
Oh no,
I wasn't
really? Are you
ignoring
alright?
Darling, I wasn't
the
ignoring you, yeah.
opportunities that
Like, I was
they
having an
deserve.
God,
echo
Dave.
and all sorts of nonsense in my chat.
Invite a woman on,
so
completely
sorry.
ignore her.
I'm so sorry. I'm so
Classic
sorry.
Dave.
Oh,
No, I'm joking. I'm joking.
Our NHS.
Oh my goodness.
My right honourable friend, the Health Secretary, is beginning to repair the damage of the last 14 years. In our first week in office, He commissioned an
10 years,
independent
10-year
report
plan.
into the
Commission
state
a
of
report,
health
commission a
by
report.
Lord Darcy. Its
Analog to
conclusions
digital.
were damning.
There we go, baby.
While our NHS
I like
staff did
analog.
a remarkable job, and we thank them
Me
for
too.
it.
It's good.
It is clear.
They've said that they're going to send
So
work
many
coaches into
areas.
hospitals to
They're moving in the wrong direction.
RAS folk who've had
No.
enough to
100,000
be
infants
admitted.
waited over 6
No.
hours
Yeah, that would be
in A&E
really bad.
last year.
Oh, fuck that.
350,000 people are waiting a year for mental health support. Cancer deaths here higher than in other countries. It is simply unforgivable. In the spring, we will publish a 10-year plan for the NHS to deliver a shift from hospital to community.
We have to have a look
From
at this
analog to
NHS
digital.
plan closely then
And
to
from
try and
sickness
unpick what
to
No,
prevention.
absolutely.
PFI bullshittery's happening
Today,
here. Do you
we
know
are
what I mean?
announcing a down payment
No,
on
no,
that.
no.
They're not
this
going to
is
announce
an
it. They're not going to be like,
huge
we're
one.
doing
No.
PFI. It's going to be in
It's
the
going to be
fine
in the,
print.
we're in the weeds of some
Exactly,
fucking white paper knocking
exactly.
about
But we
somewhere.
should be honest. The state of the NHS
Yeah,
that we
everyone's
have
got it.
inherited after, and I quote Lord Darcy, the
Wes
most
is
austere
officially the
decade
worst
since the
gay man
NHS
to
was
exist.
founded.
We don't want him.
Those that reform
We disavow him.
No. No.
He's not in
You
our
take
club.
him, look.
You can have him,
No.
heteros.
Because of the difficult decisions that I have taken on tax, welfare and spending, I can announce that I am providing a £22.6 billion increase in the day-to-day health budget.
Oh. To go where? To go where? To go where?
£billion increase
Spire
in the
Healthcare
capital
Clinic.
budget.
Yeah.
And next.
Why am I asking, guys?
This the
Is it going
largest real
to
terms growth in day-to-day
train more
NHS
nurses
spending
and
outside of
doctors
COVID since 2010.
to retain them?
Well, if it doesn't,
Blah blah
it's not going to
blah.
happen. Is it?
Or is it going to essentially what they've proposed as a potential thing to get rid of backlogs, which is but bringing in private contractors?
To address the backlog of
Again,
repairs and upgrades
public
across
money
our
for
NHS.
private profit.
To increase capacity for tens of thousands
Can't
more
hear
procedures
NHS.
next year.
Okay.
Oh, really? You might have to turn me up.
£1.5 billion
Yeah.
for new beds in
Where are
hospitals
we?
across our
The
country.
thing.
New capacity.
I think
for
people
That's
can
difficult.
hear you. I've got you
additional
nice and
diagnostic
loud.
tests. And
Oh,
new
that's good.
surgical hubs
As long as
and
I'm
diagnostic
audible, that's all
centres.
that matters.
So that
In fact, you
people
can put me
waiting
up
for
10
their
dBs
treatment
just above
can
you.
get
That'd be
it
great.
as
Of
quickly
course.
as possible.
I wouldn't have a man on my stream without doing that, you know.
My
I
right
know.
honourable friend the Home Secretary will be setting out
It was an
further
old trick
details
that
of
they
his
used to
review
do if like
into the
people
new
were co-hosting on
hospital programme
television.
in the coming weeks,
Or like one of
and
the
publishing
actors
in
or
the new
actresses
year.
would always say that,
But
put
I
my
can
mic up
tell
just
the
a little
House
bit higher
today
than the other person.
that work
Yeah.
will continue at pace to deliver those 7 hospitals
There is
affected
zero
by the
funding
RAF
for
crisis,
and now
including
passing
West
through this
Suffolk
private
Hospital
diagnosis.
in
Yeah,
Bury St
literally,
Edmunds and Leighton Hospital
literally.
in Crewe.
Yeah,
And
there's
finally,
there's just so
because
many
of this
structural
record injection
issues
of funding,
that
because
it
of
feels
the
like just
thousands
throwing
of
money
additional
at things
beds that we
is.
have
I mean, that's
secured,
I suppose
and
that's all
because
we were
of the
going to get here.
reforms that we are delivering in our NHS.
The
We
weeds
can now
is going to be
begin to
where
bring
we
waiting lists
reveal the
down
truth,
more
but
quickly
Elrond's just said
and
something
move
really
towards
important.
our target
The
for
baseline
waiting
here
times
is
to be no
decimated
longer than
public
18
services,
weeks.
which have made an absolute mockery of things like people with autism who've tried to get like referrals to specialists, or people who are trans who get a referral to the gender identity clinic.
Deputy Speaker,
Years.
choices I have made today are the
Years
right
of
choices.
backlogs. Years, guys. Up to 6-7 years for
restore
people
stability
seeking gender
to our
affirming
public
care.
finances.
Like,
Wild.
exactly, like, yes, we have this principle of socialized medicine. We do not have it in practice. And unless that
That doesn't
changes
mean
with
these choices are
huge,
easy.
like, we need to import doctors, basically.
If the party
We need to train up
opposite
more.
disagrees
We need
with the
to
choices
make
that I have
education free.
then
right?
they must answer. What choices
Across the board.
would they make?
Yeah, let's get rid of this fucking like
Yeah.
contributing to fucking like tuition
Exactly.
fees. Let's get rid of that.
Yeah,
That was the
fuck
fucking
off.
West Streeting
Get
bit.
rid of
Him
tuition
Normalising
fees.
tuition fees. Fuck him.
Irresponsibility,
Universities are places for
taken
education,
by
they're
Liz
not
Truss,
businesses.
and ignore the problems in
And
our public
lifetime
finances
education as well.
altogether.
Exactly.
If that's
I've
their
thought about
choice,
doing
they
a
should say so.
fuck, what are they called? You
But
know
let
what
me
I'm
be
saying.
clear.
Your
What, an
man.
MPhil or something like that?
No.
Then they would not be able to protect
Online,
working
Open University, that's it. Open University,
Yeah, yeah.
PhD, because I could actually do that
Yeah.
at my own
Fund public
disabled pace
services,
as opposed
then they
to
would have to cut
at
schools
a
and
institution
hospitals.
like where I studied
And
before,
if
like
they
Leeds or
disagree
something, which would be
with
just
our
too intense.
investment rule, then
Oh,
they
you're
would
a
have
fellow
to delay
Leedsy?
or cancel
Wait, did you go
thousands
to
of
Leeds
You're a fellow
Uni?
Leedsy.
which drive growth across
Well,
the
I was affiliated with Leeds, affiliated to
This
Leeds,
is a
Bretton Hall.
This
It
is
was
a
back in the
moment of
day.
fundamental
It was like
choice
the
for Britain.
Bretton Hall Arts College.
I have made
Nice.
my choices. The responsible choices.
Very nice. Leeds is awesome.
To restore stability to our country.
Stability. Wait, we've already had
protect
this. She's just said the
working
same thing. This bingo's shit. We fucked up our bingo.
Schools.
Yeah, well, I just think everyone ignored the bingo. I ignored the bingo. I created the bingo and I left it to die.
Thank you for fixing foundations. I think we had that as well. Delivering change, rebuilding Britain. Shit.
On these benches,
I'm gonna take
commend
that.
those choices, and I commend this statement to the House.
I didn't get no bingo though. Close, but no bingo.
Complain. How terrible is Oh no.
Okay, if that's done,
Oh my god. Right.
I.
Thank fuck that's gone.
Whew.
Not so bad. Effectively, initially huge. It wasn't good. It wasn't bad.
It was
like
nothing
Kiss
somehow.
Dama's, like best sexual experience. That's what it was like.
Must be decided without
Incredibly beige. Nobody's a winner, except working people may well lose when we look at the fine print.
Yeah.
5 of the Provisional Collection of Taxes Act 1968. Provisional statutory effect shall be given to the following motions.
What?
Value added tax, private
40 billion
motion
pounds worth
number
of tax rises.
34.
Wow.
Stamp duty, land tax, additional dwellings, purchases before the 1st of April 2025, motion number 35. Stamp duty, land tax, purchases by companies, motion number 37.
Let's have a look at the BBC, see what they've got on it.
Motion number 46. As
Maybe
many
they'll have a
Americans
live
say
reporting
aye,
list.
2.1 billion for school maintenance.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's enough.
Rack concrete problem.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
think so. Like it's pretty much everything which was built since
60s,
like 1950.
right? Yeah, 50s, 60s onwards.
I believe they started in 50, so up through to the late 70s. I'm not sure how late the 70s.
we put at the end of the budget debate.
Yeah, King and Elron, I did not hear anything there about any cuts to benefits, even any, the media has been throwing fucking disabled folk under the bus for the past couple of days. Me and Dave have been talking about it. It's been very scary and
Yeah.
very horrible to see. In fact, I'll bring up the, what we were talking about before. There's a BBC, like summary of people's different economic realities. It's supposed to be this like snapshot of Britain. Where was it?
It's.
If you've
I'll
got
drop
a
it in the
link,
chat
chuck it
for you in a
over.
sec.
Oh,
Yeah, it just goes to the BBC. Hang on a sec.
UK.
There you go. Right, it's quite a long link, so it might
No
get
worries.
modded. I'll just drop that in chat. There.
Hold on. I'll jump into your chat. We don't have shared chat anymore because of the thingy.
Oh yeah. I'll put that out to the main one as well. There we go.
I
It's in
got
the
it.
Discord.
I get it. I can see. There we go.
What they were telling the country. And time and again, they denied they had such plans.
Oh, I really don't want to.
The truth has come out. Proof that they planned to do this all along.
This fucking
Madam
prick.
Deputy Speaker, today's budget Today's budget sees the fiscal rules fiddled.
No, it doesn't.
Oh my
by
God.
billions of pounds. Inflation
Good.
costing handouts.
If
for the trade
only.
This is like a bad
Britain's
fucking
poorest-
pantomime.
It
Every
really
fucking single
is,
time.
like,
Britain's
absolute prick.
poorest-
They're trying their hard.
Watch
This
out,
is
the
the
immigrants
thing.
are behind you.
Yeah. I'm a good immigrant. It's maddening because literally the media will be like, yeah, this is a lie about fucking no increase in taxes because they're so neo-lib cucked. Like, there's nothing that I hate
No
Labour as
good
much as the
framing
next
which you
man.
can kind of.
Literally.
There's no good framing which you can put on it in like any sort of. I'm not even going to say mainstream anymore because I think so many of like the alternative news sources as well are completely cucked when it comes to reporting. Like they have
And it's literally
terrible
like
framing on virtually every issue.
exactly spending bad.
I mean, the last one on this list. No, was it? Right, if you scroll right down to the bottom, Alana Lamb, 70, retired.
Oh yeah,
She's got an income of 14,000 quid.
Fuck all.
Right?
literally
Yeah, no,
impoverished
like
at that
actually
point.
fuck all.
Yeah.
Like the average wage is what, 32, I think.
Yeah, it depends if you that
yeah, it
takes
depends
in
if you count up the
London
top-
and then
top
yeah,
10%,
exactly.
doesn't
Yeah.
it? But like 14 grand is nothing. Like if you're living in the south of England
nothing,
on
yeah.
14, south of England on 14 grand. Holy fucking shit! Good luck.
She's got a pension
fucking
as
luck.
well. She's got a pension at her age, which might be part of the local council. Like, they have some properties that have like fixed rate mortgages attached to them, and they're cheaper. But I think it's 55s and over. One of my housemates is actually looking to move in to one of his, but yeah, he's.
I mean, like having a pension.
sorry.
I mean, like
She's a couple.
having a mortgage, right, as you go into old age is like an incredible burden. Like that's an incredible burden. When like you're going to get to the point where I think you'll have a lot of people working older, especially from our generation, who might have got on the property ladder for like back when. But proportionally, as they get older, their retirement age is going to increase. They might not be able to afford to pay their mortgage off by the time they get to fucking 80 or something. Like, and you get it's an ongoing thing. It's another one of these ways in which this problem of like housing is going to be like come to bite us in the arse again and again and again. But yeah, right. I'm very concerned. I'm very concerned about the government stopping it. Which is right. Navy veteran and retired social worker. She has a couple of pounds over the threshold for pension credit.
Alana,
right. So she will not get the winter fuel payment this year.
This is what
she's
we were
on
saying
14
about
grand.
means
That's
testing
huge.
things. She's basically impoverished. The cutoff is
totally.
means testing is just anybody who is not like absolutely destitute will lose out. That's not the way that these kind of like this fucking slow Americanization of benefits. Do you know what I mean? Like it's no longer, as much as we can disagree with the institution of the military, and I know that we do, and we share the same opinions about the way politicians use the military, right, and some of the culture in it. Regardless, this person deserves, like a relative like peace and stability in their old age. And Navy vet, retired social worker, and she is now having been the person who sort of to a certain extent like invested in her country, worked for her country as a social worker, is now being told to fuck off and is getting fuck all income, quote unquote. I don't know, is that state pension? You would think she got more from, there's supposed to be veterans pension as well.
It might be, I think there was I think they went into it. Like she gets Alana gets full state pension,
full state
small army pension totaling $1,200 a month. Right? She says her income isn't enough for all of her outgoings and expects her mortgage to virtually double in the next few years. Basically, then obviously she'll have to sell what equity is in her house. And I'm going to say downsize, but more than likely that means
renting.
Go and live in a caravan or renting.
So that someone else can profit from her.
Probably the options.
Yeah,
that's exactly
one of the most disappointing things about this, apart from the whiffly waffly, we don't know, probably PFI, probably, let's face it, is a couple of crumbs of like increased taxation for national insurance for larger corporations. Fine, good, good. What do we do with this? The problems are so much deeper than just like taxing businesses because taxing good. Like, one of the most.
It's not even a case that they're sort of like going to go around the edges of it. Like they're not even sort of tinkering at the edges to solve the problem. Yeah. You know, it's just a continuation of the same shit. That's the way I see it. Really.
If the biggest disappointment here is the reliance on the market for housing. Of which I cannot remember the statistics that I saw recently, but I can tell you from myself, if I was to buy a home, at the moment, a cheap, in the middle of nowhere, near Sheffield, so up north, property is 7 times my yearly salary. That's bad. Just so people know.
No,
that means I can't get a mortgage.
Wild.
So anything entry level, I can't get a mortgage that isn't like 20%, fucking hell. That isn't like 8 to 9% and stuff, right? Why? Because property is investment stock for a wealthy elite in the UK. And there is nothing in there about like using any of this money to build social housing, nothing about rent caps, nothing about a government-run like fixed mortgage rate. That literally would be a game changer if they did it alongside actually building homes. Zero. And when I have a question for you, Dave. In London, what's the average percentage of someone's wage, median? Percentage of their wage spent on rent.
Oh God, London is.
I looked at this earlier.
I don't live in London. I might sound a bit like it, but I don't.
I don't fucking live in London, mate.
But it's no, but like I would say it's probably approaching half at least from the median wage. I'd say, but that would be a quick estimate.
72%.
72%.
72%. I looked at this earlier with some of my colleagues and was like, "What?" Like, and then I spoke to some of them
fucking insane.
who have good jobs and are like managers, and they're like,
gone.
Yeah, like you are. This is what I mean by like working people, breadline, starving, wages. Like we have the worst of all social democracy like approaches in the entirety of Europe, which is impressive. Frankly, how terrible we are at this. This is my worry. Like you could have had, we're gonna build, 1 million homes, and that's just basic Keynesian economics. We're gonna put a 2% like increase on some tax somewhere. We're going to build homes. We're going to keep it in-house. So contracts given to British businesses, good union workers and pay for building the homes, right? Make them eco-friendly and all this kind of bollocks. And then we have suddenly a huge investment in the supply chain, and we have housing that we can put people who have benefits into to save the benefit bill, to save money from the benefit bill. I'm pretty sure if you did that properly, there would be a net return pretty quickly. As in, that would be a income saving process of like the government actually providing for people instead of becoming this middleman, taking your money, giving to private services thing. And the fact that they're doing fuck all with housing is, I mean, for me, mate, I've told you about this before. I am not staying in the UK. I'm not. What does it offer? No.
Like, where are you going to go to? Where are you going to go off to? Just like, I'm curious, because I've done a lot of traveling, so I know that you don't have to be tethered to here if you've got the luxury of a degree and like opportunities elsewhere.
Well, I checked my work policy this morning. I also actually, do you mind if I do a little plug of something super quickly?
No, go for it.
Tomorrow, I'm going to be doing a fundraiser where I dress as Xena Warrior Princess, and because I'm immunocompromised, I'm gonna spend half of it on getting myself a medication that I need called intravenous immunoglobulin, which is just a bunch of different antibodies that I infuse into myself, and it keeps me protected. And then half of it's going to go to a queer organisation in Palestine. So if you come in at some point tomorrow, I will be Xena-ing and playing games, and hopefully there'll be some other people coming in. And it'll be a very fun, spooky affair as well. So I'm not traveling anywhere until I get that medication. It was related. It was related. Yes, Elron, my Irish passport is... I've just been told by my witness that they called her. So I'm expecting it in soon. But real talk, Ireland is even more of a bullshit tax haven. So...
totally.
I just found out a couple of
Europe
weeks
when
ago.
it comes to tax dodgers.
Yeah, exactly. They're like... I mean, they are literally a tax haven. As in, 13% corporation tax is the lowest in Europe. And they have a budget surplus, and they're doing the same thing, refusing to build homes.
Dublin, the prices in Dublin I saw have gone through the roof.
One of the worst in Britain.
Prices.
In Europe.
Yeah.
And think about what we just said about how much people are spending in London on rent, right? 72% of their wages.
Can't believe
it's fucking mad, innit, mate? I saw that and I was like, this is why we're fucked. And do you know what? I sent you that thing of me in Facebook 2010, fresh-faced hot sauce, being like, I'm gonna fight austerity. Apparently I was 13 at the time. I'm gonna fight austerity. Fight. And I just feel like I tried really hard, knew this was coming. England's fucked. Dublin is the worst in Britain. True, I am the single worst Irish person in existence. But like,
you are so getting cancelled.
Yeah. Passport taken back. That's it. Like,
Corbyn, LHS, you're done. You're done.
Yeah. But I found out because my mum's Norwegian, I might have and I visited Norway a lot as a child. There's a couple of things. I might have access to.
So you got an in?
Yeah, I got an in.
Lucky devil.
And
lucky devil.
Believe me, there are problems in Norway, you know, like every other liberal democracy. But they have at least just like the basic conditions of how I can survive as someone with a disability. And just much better wages, and they have some organizations that I could work for. So if I got the opportunity to, and I needed somewhere to settle down, because I don't know, as someone with a disability and autoimmunity comes back, like it will, like I'm in remission right now, it will come back. I just have to think about this, you know, and it's in the back of my mind. I'd love to fuck off to somewhere like China or Vietnam, but until I've looked into what disability rights are like there in practice, right?
I think it becomes a lot more difficult if you're a Westerner.
Exactly.
In China specifically.
And
like
you're
it
not a
really
citizen,
does, because so much of your visa is based upon like either they have like the Z-type visas, which are like foreign experts, but it's tied to your ability to work for an organization. I did have a friend of mine who was laid up for, I think it was 4 months, and that was a long time, and they were a bit fucking iffy about like whether they wanted to continue employing him. So obviously like the visa would run out after the job ended. So in that, it's also very, very difficult to get citizenship.
Yeah, exactly. That's
you
the
can
thing.
understand
I'd be
why
a
that is
citizen
as
in
well.
Norway, right? So,
Yeah.
of course, yeah. I mean, China is surrounded by developing countries where a lot of people would want to move for the relative prosperity that China has, right, in comparison to, like, the place that I work. Like, actually, China's shut down the border between Shan State and Myanmar and China for this very reason, that there are a lot of desperate people who do what desperate people do in times of war and conflict and try and leave and go where places are more prosperous, you know. So yeah, I understand it. But also Norway, Bergen Hospital is the place that developed the autoimmune protocol that I took to go into remission.
Oh, so that would be a perfect fit for you.
And it's not given anywhere apart from there in Germany. So I'm kind of constrained to a certain extent by healthcare. But I feel sad, dude. It used to be that I can. So next year, if I get in remission, if I stop becoming immunocompromised and work allows it, we're going on the road, lad. We're gonna go to Morocco first. We're gonna go to Kenya.
That's gonna be fantastic.
Exactly. I'm using my health whilst I've got it. I just can't travel at the moment because it's.
Yeah.
If I get a virus, I'll die. So I can't do that right now.
No, totally.
Not right now.
You got to look after yourself. Like, this is one thing that the world has taught me, is that there are so few people out there who actually give a shit in terms of, like, the systems of governance.
Oh,
and,
yeah,
like,
no one cares.
networks
No one
and
cares about you, yeah.
I mean,
well, actually, that's not true,
like,
is it?
there are-
Systems
in
don't
terms
care
of, like,
about you.
The official sort of systems of governance, right? But, like, community support and, like, outreach and social groups and that kind of thing, yeah, that's great to a certain extent, you know, but there are always limits to it. You know?
That's the thing as well, actually, that is really important. I talk about it from a humanitarian perspective, but it also applies to people who are living with disabilities in the UK, is that being on disabilities is dehumanizing. Like, some people will always need to just have support. And just imagine a world where we had universal basic services, where we just had housing. You don't have to get up tomorrow and work a shit job you don't enjoy because you have a house.
Yeah.
You do the labor that you want to do, not on condition of homelessness, not on the condition of
And that's
you get no
I know.
access
I
to
mean,
any
this is
services.
I won't even say utopia. This is like this is the world that I would say most people would be on board with.
Absolutely,
and congratulations,
yeah.
It's fucking socialism. Like, this is,
Yeah,
this is
yeah,
the
yeah,
way
yeah,
to
yeah.
do it. You know, like, decommodify all the things which need to be decommodified for thriving, human thriving.
Yeah, Elron has said something actually that I really agree with, is most people do care, but we have kind of corporate systems, and especially the corporatization of government, which we just saw in this weird, like, sludgy budget of nothingness, of like, here's a couple of pennies here, here's a couple of pounds there, we're going to do more NHS. Okay, how? How? What's happening here?
I saw an elder the other day. She didn't say anything about, like, her condition worsening, but, like, definitely she's in a very difficult position in Sweden. The
one good thing about the UK, UK's benefit system.
Don't say chip shops.
No. I don't like, fucking hell, don't cancel me, but...
No, I'm not gonna.
Heavy fish and chips is a bit much. I feel quite, like, fat after it, and, like... I'd rather have a curry, mate. Do you know what I mean? Like,
it's always too many chips.
Yeah.
But,
it's
like,
so greasy as well, like...
I just had, like, some chips the other day, and it was the most disappointing, mundane, middle-of-the-road bullshit experience that I ever had. And I managed to walk away from the chip shop with, I don't know, a couple of quid change from a tenner.
Yeah, fucking hell, mate.
Shit pie, a huge portion of chips, which I really couldn't possibly fucking eat because they were all crap and cold anyway.
Yeah!
It was bloody horrible.
And
Bloody
£8, fucking £8 it is for fish and chips. Mate, when I was in London, when I lived in Haringey, which is like Hackney sort of area, guess how much fish and chips was?
Yeah.
One serving for one person in the local chippy. Just guess how much.
What year?
2022.
2022.
Yep.
I'm gonna say, well, there was a rise in cod prices.
Dave.
I wanna say £12.50.
15 quid, mate. 15 fucking quid.
Oh my god.
15 fucking quid
Fuck
for
me.
fish and chips.
I bet that was a small
15
fucking cod as well. Well, it probably
quid.
wasn't cod, it was like halibut or fucking
Probably
skate or
just like
something.
mulch from the bottom of the fucking freezer that they stuck together. Will, Jesus
Fuck me,
fucking
that is
Christ.
too expensive.
Hey, Will. Yeah, Another, you need
I've
a
always been much more
doctor.
of a curry person.
Yeah, me too, mate. Curry all the way. Curry all the way. I have to say, the only thing from the budget is there was somehow less buzzwords than I expected.
Yeah. But I think Keir's mainly the one responsible for the
Yeah,
buzzwords.
true. Building back better.
Mm.
What's your feelings? What's your general takeaway?
Malaise, expected malaise, continued decline generally. I have no faith whatsoever there is going to be any form of strategic investment which helps people.
Exactly.
It's going to be
Looking
if
behind
there's
the
money which is
buzzwords,
going
yeah.
into a scheme, it's going to be put into the private sector. And I think it will be replacement services, replacement for
Yep.
radiology departments, replacement for care services, replacement for I don't know,
Virgin
meal
money
delivery services,
healthcare.
all these kind of things.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's that kind of stuff.
That's Britain, though.
which
That's
isn't
been Britain
good.
since Blair. That's Britain. That's how we
Oh,
do
yeah,
it
no, that
now.
it's
Your
Blair,
money's for some fucking fat cat somewhere who gives you a shittier service and charges you double the amount. Like the entire care budget in terms of not carers allowance, just to slightly confuse people because that came up earlier, but how councils employ carers to provide people who will be given a care package either by a social worker. Actually, it's pretty much exclusively by social workers, isn't it? Because they will do that in hospital if someone has to be discharged into social,
Yes and
like,
no.
community.
There's a lot of crossover between the two roles. I know in one of the local authorities near me, it's been mainly people who have been going out from the care department who work in the hospitals themselves, and they've kind of set themselves up into a special little unit. So like but it is generally between the two. It's one or the other.
Fair enough.
They call them what? Hospital outreach teams, I think.
Yeah. I
that's
think
what the one that
think
was called.
my housemate used to work as one of them before he couldn't hack being a social worker anymore and gave it in, which is kind of understandable. But I think people will just, what they've relied on here is just like private jet tax, ooh, and also national
It's
insurance for
something
big
that you can say
corporations.
to appease people.
Yeah, exactly. It is
Yeah.
it's been a series of policies of appeasements, where of course there are a few things in there that I support. Like, I would like to tax private schools into oblivion so that they cease to exist. That would be a fun thing to do. 100% tax on the profits of private schools. 100%. And not just the profits, assets. Let's just take the land. I don't care. Right?
I mean, like...
But this is a start.
let's
Do you
just
know
go-
what I mean? Like...
I mean, okay, but I mean, like, if we want to be real here and say, do the sock dem thing, let's go back to the days of, like, 99% fucking tax on top earners.
Yeah.
Like, serious. I'm not kidding. That was, like, Post-war, that was what it was, and it's been that top earner tax rate has gone down and down and down and down and down and down in the, I guess, the ideological kind of expansion of job creation, like all the neoliberalism and like the thrust towards the individuals supporting society, small businesses, and a small business, which is I guess a business of like what, a couple of million quid these days, anything up to. But like, yeah, it's that. Let's go back to actually like progressive taxation in a big way. If you're going to do the sock dem thing, do the sock dem thing. Fine, sure, do it. Right? It's not what I want. I want to fucking seize the means of bloody production, change the entire goddamn system.
I mean,
like actual revolutionary change for working people. That's the end. That would be like the end. That would not even the end point. That's the beginning point for me. But like, that would be like your Keynesianism, right? They could do that. They could go back. They could even do little Keynesianism like Gordon Brown did. They could try that. It doesn't solve any of the contradictions of capital. They could go for that, right? They could do that. But if they wanted to be more progressive and more lefty, they could do MMT. But the closest any government has got to doing MMT has been like the Boris Johnson government, which is a laugh with the well, whilst they were doing COVID, it was like a regressive, well, I guess a more progressive form of MMT than anything else. They could have done that, but they're not going to. They're just
MMT though also,
the same as Tories.
From my understanding, requires a very rigid like boundary on what businesses do in order to prevent like inflation and capital flight, right? You need a government that properly fucking.
You've got to.
Michael McAllister for the sub. I'm going to do some push-ups. Sorry, let me just finish this trailer of thought.
Okay, so I've been ignoring my chat. I'm sorry, Dak. Hello, Dakadine. Lovely to see you, Sapper, Elron. Like I've been looking at your comments. I should have been saying things all this time.
He's talking to a woman at the moment, actually, so he's busy. Fuck, I can't remember what I was saying. Oh yeah, if we were going to do it right, like, the reason why I say like Boris Johnson, I don't like. I hear people use terminology like Boris Johnson. Oh wow, thank you, Michael. I'll crack out 20 push-ups for you in a second. Thank you so much for the subs. What I wanted to say is Boris Johnson. I hear people say that he was an anti-austerity, MMT kind of like a politician. I don't believe that to be true for several
it wasn't MMT.
things. Exactly. Like he also
it was
again
the closest we got to it, I think.
He oversaw the largest transfer of wealth from British working people via taxation, government spending that went directly into the pockets of businesses that bought up land and assets in the UK. Some of it straight up just fucking stolen, right? All of this PPE, all of this government crony scandal things, right? Thank you guys. Shit, we have a hype train incoming. If you guys want to, sorry Dave, if you guys want to get a hype train going.
That's fine, you're good.
I put on Arnold Schwarzenegger music and do as many push-ups as I feasibly can. That's what we do for because we're real men here. Thank you very much. Real women here. Thank you so much, James, as well for the gifty. Super appreciated. But yeah, I in fact, Swallow Cheerio, engage. I always want to challenge people who are sold this lie. I know you don't buy it, but people who sold this lie that Boris Johnson, like in any way engaged with like Keynesian economics or did any kind of social investment. The bare minimum, whilst he was partying and dancing on the graves of people who had, died of COVID in this country, I've never been as angry in my life as when I saw Conservatives out on election day, and I just screamed at them about COVID, mate. I lost it. Clearly, it had been brewing inside of me. In fact, two of my friends, one I don't know very well, but like their dads died of COVID. It just fucking, it's horrible, right? This era of British history. And
Yeah,
I just want to double down on this.
Let the body stack high.
Exactly.
Let the body stack high.
And it was not investment. It was not supporting. It was not growth oriented by even Keynesian economic principles. It was disaster capitalism. And that even makes it harder for what Labour's doing right now, because it's all like, look what happened when you spent money before. No one saw jack shit from it, apart from an increase in prices and becoming even further entrenched in generation rent. It's because of where that money went to. So when people don't see the benefits of taxation, they don't see any increase in access to public services, anywhere close to escaping the fucking rent traps that we live in, they start hating government again, as they should, because the government is just a fucking extension of capital
I'll say
accumulation.
The same for Gordon Brown as well. Like if we look at Gordon Brown, especially post economic crisis, right? The way in which quantitative easing was done was literally about sort of giving banks bailing massive amounts of public money, our money, like working people's money.
And they could have done what Iceland did.
Yeah,
Iceland paid for something like the next 300 years of their budget or something insane by putting bankers in court. After the Iceland banking scandal and stuff,
Well, and we got one guy from HSBC who fiddled the LIBOR rate, who was a middle manager. You know what
I mean? Yeah, Britain. I'm gonna do some push-ups, but I'm listening to you.
Yeah, sure. The thing which I find probably more disgusting than that, even though that was a disgusting and awful thing to happen, is that quantitative easing, if you wanted to say, we're doing Keynesianism, we're going to do that thing, that could have gone to people's mortgage payments. That literally could have been done and gone to people's mortgage payments, 100%. And it didn't. It just got fucking sucked into private industry in the same old fucking usual way that it did. Solar defrag, I just got here. I didn't hear a single word about public ownership or public equity. Only market-driven shite in that speech. Yeah, no, it was more of the same with fuck all else. Do you reckon the budget will have a knock-on effect on us workers? Do you reckon some employers will have to make more redundancies because of the hiked up national insurance? I don't think so. I think, if anything, those costs from NI are going to be, if they feel that there is some threat for them, they won't directly go after workers in terms of redundancies. I don't think they'll do that. But what they'll do is they'll pass them on in terms of inflated prices for products and services, in the usual way in which capital disciplines any advance of labour by sort of putting them under the thumb of kind of having to pay more for everything, as a sort of stealth.
Sorry, mate. I've got a hype train. So I have to do my Arnold thing.
Excellent.
I'm gonna deafen myself and mute you so that it doesn't completely fuck up your stream. Thank you, chat.
Hi, this is Arnold, your instructor. Down, up, down, up, down. Down, up, down, up, down, up. Come on, more energy. Down, up, down, up, time. Down, up, down, up, down, down. Come on, down, down. Come on, more energy. Up, 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 up. Come on, more energy. More energy. This is Arnold. This is Arnold. Down, up, up, down, up, up, down, down, up,
Yeah.
down, up, up,
Fuck my life.
down. Come on, more energy.
Alright.
Down, up, up, down, up, up, down. Come on, one
More energy.
down.
Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much. We will get back to the UK's budget after a while. Just too busy getting gains. Yes, I am gonna work out later. Fucking hell, though, literally. Like, I love if people just came from No Justice's stream, where No Justice is like based as fuck and will be like really nuanced, and it's just me being like, socialism maxing. I think that was 21 again. 21 shit ones. I need to jump off soon and get back to work because I only had a couple of extra hours to take off this lunch. I just want to say thank you to people. Michael McAllister, thank you so much for the gift subs. James as well, thank you so much. I need to give you a shout out in a second, mate. Super duper appreciated. Energy flow, yeah, exactly. Hi Doggo, welcome in. It was so good. Yeah, literally, Elron, you've got it. Paul Squall, thank you so much. Oh my god, I'm so sweaty and disgusting right now. Thank you so much for the biddies, for the 200 biddies together as well. Super duper appreciated. Oh my gosh, yeah, 20-ish. Jesus, sweet motherfucking Christ. I'm sweating like I've died. Also, Solar Defrag. Defragmentation Mans? Welcome in. Right, I'm going to bring Dave back in. One sec. Hello.
LHS, I suppose, would be the way to look at it. Hi, LHS, good to see you. Yeah, we have variable and fixed rates mortgages.
Yeah.
No
do we have fixed rate mortgages? Because I've been looking for one.
There have been like some offerings, but they are like expensive. You would never be able to afford one effectively.
Great, yeah. It's another one of those things where, for all of
it's
all
like,
world's
so far out
faults,
of, like,
the thing about like being a poor person that has shoes costs more money overall. Like, if you are constantly buying shit that's like being poor costs you more money because you can't buy things that are like long term. You can't buy things that in any way appreciate and stuff. You just buy things and consume them and they degrade, basically.
Yeah, no, completely.
So I'm glad to see that's the same in mortgages. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same. It's the same way in which like you can see VAT as a regressive tax, like because obviously, when people need to buy things, it's obviously like the poorer people who are more affected. Like if you've got a gazillion quid, it doesn't matter if you buy a microwave oven, you know, like, but you're still going to be saying the same amount of tax on things. So like if you buy a nice pair of shoes and you pay VAT on them, it's the same. It's like the same level of taxation as buying 3 pairs of shit shoes if you,
exactly,
like, run through
yeah,
them pretty quick, you know. So like, it's kind of that. It's the same thing. Like in all of these fucking systems, you see it replicated over and over and over.
and until like
You fix your,
until
mortgage
working
long-term, I
people
haven't-
actually and their interests are represented, it will continue to be this bullshit. Great. The fuck me. Oh my god. Mortgage rates, great, are set to go back up to 4%, 5%.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Lovely.
Excellent. We love it.
If
We
I
love it
hear
when
my
rates
dad
rise.
tell me I had an 18% mortgage one more time, though, I'm a hit the roof. Like that man
just
calls
tell him
himself
money
a
was worth,
socialist.
like, shitloads
Yeah, exactly,
more.
mate. In Cheam, just
know.
Cheam, Croydon, right? We lived in like a little village in between Croydon and Cheam.
Yeah.
My dad got, what was it? It's a 4-bedroom. It's a pretty house actually, semi-detached. Main road went into London, so it was like one of the first sort of outlier commuter areas when I was growing up.
Yeah.
Guess how much their home cost? So this would be zone 3.
What year?
Zone 3. Dad would have bought the house in early 80s.
I'm gonna say early 80s. Oh shit, yeah, that would be. Because I'm thinking of the prices in the 90s, which are fucking bonkers for a while, and then it was crashed. 80s, I would say 72 or 87,000.
That's such a specific amount. 72,000, were you saying?
Yeah, 72 to 87, I think, somewhere in that price range.
64,000.
Wasn't that far off? Wasn't that
Yeah,
far off? I was terribly far off, actually.
His salary, he worked in oil, right? Dad was like, Dad was part of that dreamer boomer generation that like did very well, you know.
Yeah, no, I can imagine.
Yeah, so his salary was like, at the time it was 35k. So that's half, by the way, half the value of that house. And that was a lot of money at the time as well. That's quite a lot of money, you know.
Do you want to know what the purchasing power parity of £1,000 in 1980 was?
Please
compared
no.
to today?
Please no. Please
Let
no.
me just tell you, like, £4,169 for every £1,000.
Jesus Christ.
That's how much £1,000 was worth then.
That's
£4,000.
ridiculous. Yeah, I mean that does kind of match up with like people. I swear, like
fucking wild.
One of the most fucked up things that the right can do in England, and the adoption of this by the Liberals doesn't fucking help, is create this idea of like household budgets in government spending. Like
oh my god, that's always fucking incredible.
Ask the Chinese government whether they their entire mass industrialization and like huge removal of people out of poverty has been based on that. TLDR, no. No.
Well, I mean, like, is the thing it's like, if you want to be like go back to MMT again, it's the thing like. It would be great if I had a household budget where I could literally print money. That would be wicked.
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't that be incredible? Like, manage your household budget like a fucking government budget.
So, Dave, I've just heard of MMT. I've only just in the last week or two been looking into it, probably because of our like lefty YouTube algorithms. Is it just? This is my understanding.
Yeah.
The liberal notion of government spending creating a deficit being bad is bullshit. You can print shit tons of money and pay off whatever the fuck you want as a government, and you should be doing that.
You own the ability to
do so. Yeah, money. I mean, we don't have a independent Bank of England anymore, but still, let's say hypothetically.
No, I know we don't have an independent one, but technically. I think government still has the ability to print money. I remember reading an article on that.
But the flip side of it is you need to be able to manage inflation rates by coming down hard on the parameters of business, and also simultaneously stop like mass market monopolization like we see in the UK.
Yeah.
So without that latter bit, you are just money tree
you're
inflation, you know, which is bad, obviously.
You're just inflation. But I think the takeaway that I can get from MMT, and I was talking about this the other day in chat, and like someone said, "Oh, do you support monetary theory?" And I was like, it's hard to say whether you support it or not, because like it would certainly take the boot off the necks of working people if it were implemented properly, and it would work in the short term. But you're still living within the auspices of capitalism, right? And the class contradictions which obviously come along with the class power contradictions, I should say, which come along with living within that. It doesn't change any of the relationships between classes. It doesn't change that at all. It just basically puts more power in the hands of people. But if you
it would depend how it was used, right? In the exact same way that we're seeing this like magical budget of like spending, but we know from like having read like, you know, more than one paper on how government works in modern Britain, we know that this is public money, private profits, worsening services, very unlikely to create the kind of jobs that people need to have high wages, right?
Totally.
That's what I kind of understand, is it's similar in that it's the application of it that will be where the benefit either lies or doesn't lie. Because if you just had a bunch of money being printed for the sake of literally like creating a surplus, like which it literally made, Ireland has a huge, something like a 10 billion budget surplus a year, and some of the worst public services, like we don't have free healthcare and stuff by design, right? That's how much they hate people. It's like basically
again, it's
you get nothing and we save money for something, who even knows what, you know?
It's how you implement it, and it's who you give it. And basically we always come back to political economy every single time. Surplus labor is being stolen from us. It's being
Hello.
So it's the absolute bottom line. And something like MMT, my greatest fear, I think, with MMT is that it's seen as some sort of socialist panacea.
Yeah, like UBI,
really
right?
Yeah, because you introduce it, right? Say tomorrow we get a socialist government who could introduce the socialist MMT. That's great. The contradictions of capital don't go away. That class dynamic and that fucking money dynamic doesn't go away, right? Say that you manage to continue doing it for 4 or 8 years, 2 terms, right? 5 or 10 years, depending on what. But yeah, you do that, right? And then obviously you get a conservative government come in. What do they do? What's the first thing that they do? They'll cut public services to the bone, right? They'll cut public services. They'll destroy this system. They'll try and revert back to like neoliberalism, which is like, I guess this is the thing. It's like, once it's installed, it can be quite easily sort of like the economy can be remodeled to make it more neoliberal. But you do that, and then what happens is you have another sort of long winter for like the left. You don't address any of these policies. Like MMT itself like gains this reputation as a left wing fucking ideology, which obviously
but it's the utilization again that will be the most important dynamic.
We need a fucking dictatorship of the proletariat. We fucking actually need that. I'm real. I say that in a real way. Like it's a pyramid, and at the top of the pyramid, we need to flip that pyramid so that we need to invert the pyramid.
That would just take so much reforming.
It would take revolution.
I mean,
literally revolutionary. Like,
there's a video I want to watch with you, which I think is a good exploration of the concept of revolution in British politics, but that's for a different time. I'm gonna have to go in like 5 or 10 minutes.
No worries, it's fine.
But the closer I think that we can get to working people being, and not just working people, but working ideology, like working class ideology, socialist ideology, being hands-on in the levers of government, the closer we are to that goal, I think. You know I'm a reformist, not a revolutionary, but...
Oh, no, totally.
Like, therefore, I don't see them as mutually, like, exclusive. Like, people can work within... I mean, I met someone recently who's a socialist in Ireland, and I agree with this approach. Use whatever tools are at your disposal.
Yeah.
That's it. Electoralism, fine. Like, courts, fine. Unions, fine. Mass mobilization, protests on the street, fine. All of the above. All of the above.
I mean,
do you know what I
local
mean?
government's great. How do you fucking build a Soviet if you're not involved in local government? Like, get involved in it.
Oh my gosh, that's another deep dive.
Parish council associates.
Yeah, oh
Soviets,
my god.
That's what we need, man.
Parish council
Unreal,
Soviets, yeah. Well, we already have a model for localized governance, right? At the moment, there is we need to have a look actually at the budget and how much more money is going to go back to these local councils and things. But again, it's a service system as opposed to a localized governance system. It's more, which is increasingly in Britain. I've worked in like third sector stuff all my life. You know, you call people clients, right? You call people this businessification of everything has infected Britain for a very long time, and it would take a lot of public conscious raising to change that, I think, and to change their like, I've been having this chat with this guy who's absolutely insane. He's like a Facebook boomer shouter who hates his council. He's a bit of a chud. I'm trying though. And I'm like trying to get him to understand where his anger's like mismanaged. And he like hates local government. Why? They're not giving money to veterans. That's not what local government, like, where have you heard this? Do you know what I mean? Like,
that's just like, people aren't even ready to have so many of the conversations we want to have. And I guess this is one of the reasons I focus on so much on electoralism, whilst at the same time kind of hoping to kind of like keep my revolutionary cred. I think it's slowly slipping away from me. But like, I feel like I need to expose most of these bourgeois politicians for what they are. This parity between like the two mainstream parties. This apparent split within two parties, which are effectively one party with two wings. A left
Did you
and a right
see
wing.
the Angela Rayner
and Labour
speech
Party.
the other day where she did a love heart towards the Tories? It's
Oh
the
my god, I didn't see that.
worst. Okay, I'll show you. I just need to do a quick shout out. James from the internet, guys, for those who are following, whilst we're kind of on this stream of thought, James is American, is a fun leftist sort of content creator, and we'll actually be looking at, on the day of the election in America, we'll be looking at things lower down the ballot, which I think is actually really fucking important. Because from his channel, I've learned things like, I think it's Minnesota has abortion rights on the ballot and stuff. There are a couple of places that there are some like referendums that could be quite important. And from people like Tofu Ghost, I've learned that there are like, I think it's the governor of LA or one of these fucking officials, I can't remember. It's like they could lose and become like really right wing, be replaced by an awful right winger. And whilst a lot of oxygen is being given to obviously Trumpians, James is a good shout for this very reason, focusing on the smaller stuff.
I could gargle. Hold on.
Wait, what the fuck? I love shouting people out because it's always so
on Stephen Crowder's
intense.
problematic. In a fucking fucking Charles Bukowski book, okay?
Pretty sure, I can't remember where it is, King. In fact, James is your man to talk to. And he's funny as well, which always helps in these dire times. Yeah, like raising public consciousness in Britain in terms of, this is actually what I wanted the video to show you about.
No. 100%.
This guy has a theory about like why revolutions failed in Britain, and it's because of the relationship with democratic structures. And in short, like essentially the way the working class sees itself in Britain, which is quite interesting. And You know what we didn't have too much of today in the budget was working people, blah, 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 working people. Weirdly, I mean...
they don't like us. That's because they don't like us, LHS. No, I'm serious. They don't like us.
Yeah, true.
Like, do you think Angela Rayner, as much as she claims this fucking working class background,
yeah.
It's bullshit. I don't believe she's ever worked a day in the care industry in her fucking life.
You
I don't think
so?
She understands a sodding thing about it. Like, seriously, I've been through like most of her speeches when she's been talking about it, and it's been absolute nonsense.
But do you think those speeches are not written? But I feel like they're written by some fucking politics postgrad, because I went to uni with a bunch of them, and they don't fucking know shit. But they write the speeches. I don't think it's her voice. Do you know what I mean? Particularly now that she is a ministerial, what is she, deputy? Like, now that she has a ministerial office, she don't do that. So, but I think what you're showing there is a disconnect, which is often the disconnect in like liberal politics is, wow, let's look at what someone's like. I'm working class, you know, she's in the pink economy and stuff, caring economy, often very poorly paid, blah, 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 blah. What is the one thing that we've just said that could massively transform the British care sector? Ending private contracts, bringing it back in-house, saving, I can imagine, millions, right? Good, unionised, well-paid work, right? That has proper fucking... Get rid of the profit motive on these things that don't need it and demonstrably hurt services, right? But that's what she should be doing. If you know what it's like, I was a carer. If you know what it's like, right, it's bullshit, right? The only good thing about it is you get some independent hours, which was good for me when I was a student doing my masters. That can be done government in-house as well. Easily. Other than that, you get fucking nothing, right? And people who are paying for these services pay more because there's a big, nice paycheck for shareholders at the end of the fucking month and year, right? That's it. And that's what she should be doing. And she should be like, how do we address care and how do we address chronic health issues? Housing. Fucking housing.
Yeah, but here's the thing. The thing which I keep on keeps coming back to me is there's a reason why she's in that position.
Yeah.
And the reason why she's in that position is because she's not going to say those fucking things. She's not going to say them in the first place.
She's going to look
That's the
like
only
it.
Reason she's in a fucking Starmer government.
Yeah, she's going to give this illusion of being a working class woman, blah, 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 blah. Give this is what I mean, this liberal veneer of like, oh, look.
AOC is another American example, I guess. Like, it's a great American example of this. A bartender.
Yeah.
A bartender who was groomed from a very young age to go and basically become a politician. Like, this is what it is. Like her father was incredibly wealthy, an architect, worked for some very, very powerful people, had connections. She went to a prestigious university. Like, these aren't working class people. They're not. And
I'm going to push back on that. Going to university does not mean you're not working class. Having a wealthy dad,
it is when,
like, you just use a Marxist definition there. It doesn't, but it's how her dad earned his money and what her relationship was to it. I think what we're saying is she had it easier, right? Like, we use the distinction with like doctors in the UK. Doctors are working class. They earn a profit from their labour, right? They sell their labour. Doctoring, and they get money from it. But clearly a fucking surgeon or a consultant has more money, therefore more resources because of income like inequality.
Okay, labour aristocracy would probably be a better way to
I think that would be I'm with you.
But there's like a vast amount of privilege there which was not turned towards working people, and I don't think. And you can see that in the way in which, like, she hasn't advocated for the positions which would encourage solidarity between working people at all.
This is what I'm saying. There's no policies there that actually reflect working class needs.
Yeah,
that's the problem. She's supposed to be doing this thing of like, privilege don't mean privilege. Exactly, Energy Flow summarized it really well. privilege doesn't mean a class distinction, but clearly it is a privilege. So what I was sorry, I was being like nerdy Marxist, but what it means is someone who has been able to like for some reasons, right, facilitate like better pay for that still same abusive kind of situation of selling your labor. It's just they've been able to work out like a slightly better way of doing that, and therefore gaining privilege in the process of doing it. I think you're getting at a bunch of these politicians, and we were talking about this the other day, like the Obama era of politics, where it's about like individuals and this very symbolic surface level approach of like, oh, this Labour cabinet is like the most working class ever. And to a certain extent, yes, you know, they're the most publicly educated and stuff, but that doesn't fucking mean anything. That's fucking bows on a turkey, you know, it doesn't actually show underneath. Why is that any of that supposed to fucking matter? Because it's supposed to translate to government putting working people above profit, which hasn't happened at all. And this budget has just shown fluffy nothingness. Absolutely inconsequential. A little bit of tax here, a little bit of... there's just no structural reform to...
I mean, look at, like, campaign financing as well. Like, the way campaign financing is. And I'll exclude Corbyn out of this, right, straight away, because I think the Corbyn campaign and that was quite different. It was a different, grassroots movement.
It was a different era, Dave.
It
was. I remember I was in England at the time. So,
the glory days when maybe I had hope in
honestly,
socialism.
I went to a queer co-op and I knew that we were going to lose. And this was about 2 months before I left for Cambodia, and I remember leaving that pub and just being like, fuck, we're so fucked. And never wanting to look back, and I wish I hadn't. Fuck England. Sorry, anyway, you were saying Corbyn.
Yeah, but like the way in which campaign finances work, like you understand like intrinsically that the people who make policy, the people who decide the direction of a country, the capitalist class. They're your big businesses, they're your big corporations, they're your massive earners. Like, when you're giving like the ability to win an election to somebody, that comes with a price tag, and the price tag is that I want deregulation, I want cheap fucking labor, I want as much for me in terms of profit and like my fiduciary responsibility to my shareholders as possible. Like,
business,
that's kind of the way it is.
Yeah, unfortunately,
like,
and also
until we can upturn that, until we can take the profit motive out of so many of these sectors, the ones which specifically affect like human thriving, and the ones which exploiters,
the fucking
which
basics.
is pretty much all of them.
Yeah,
like the very, very basics. Then
commodifications of like basic
like,
services has literally just is killing people.
Because it is all like, this is the thing. I see it as being a top-down process. Like it's 100% a top-down process. It doesn't mean we can't fight back against it. We certainly can. Like, but we need to build, as you were saying, like that sort of class solidarity. And there are some like very sort of good socialist groups that I know of, like the Revolutionary Communist Group, for example. That's the one I would sort of talk about, and like in terms of Marxist-Leninism, who like that they're in their exact position. Like their policy position is like, well, we don't even have enough class consciousness to build an actual party.
Oh,
like,
yeah, no.
have like a vanguard party is so far even out off the fucking table. You know, like that's off the table until we build solidarity at like the grassroots level between.
There's
our
also something I want to explain to
start.
people as well. Is Elrond said Oxbridge PPE grads are not working for us. I did politics and philosophy at uni, and as much as they would like to argue that you have access to a diversity of opinions, the normative ways that you approach and have discussions around things like economics are neoliberal. Maybe at some point you will gain some tools to be able to critically address neoliberalization, but very late, and it's often seen as like a little like flourishing of like mainstream economic, liberal theory, which good market good, everything else bad, profit motive, save everything, save everyone. So literally, the people who are dictating the policies are like blinded by their ideology, and the people who own the media, not only do they have their own interests that they want to perpetuate whenever they can, some people are like just literally, even if they think they're doing the right thing, right, are just blinded by liberal ideology because they've been told it is the way that you have a functioning government without exploring things like any form of like what an actual working class person is, right? And what it actually means to be alienated from your labor, what it actually means to have like consensus democracy that's outside of like capital authoritarianism, right? There is so far to go. And this is why I focus on like much more reformist things, because I genuinely believe that things like opening more left-wing spaces through things like, I know you're going to laugh at this, but like things like co-ops allow people access to these narratives, if that makes sense. I'm lucky I got to go to uni. I am gonna shit on my own words here. I'm middle class culturally, right? So I'm working class in terms of Marxist theory. I'm much like AOC, I guess. Like, had a lot of opportunities given to me, and a lot of privileges. I recognise that not everybody gets access to that, and in fact, I think that a lot of the working class in Britain are given access to fascist ideology instead. And fascist narratives and fascist solutions to these problems, which
there's a reason why most newspapers are run at a loss,
and GB News as well. They lose something like, I swear it was maybe someone in chat or maybe it was like 8 million or 80 million a year loss, like huge. But he just
actually I don't know the figures like on GB specifically, but I know that most newspapers, like their print versions don't make any money whatsoever, but they still like run them.
Yeah, because ideology.
That's because they want to perpetuate those interests. Like it's I won't say the Chomsky idea of manufacturing consent or anything like that, but you get these self-selecting entities where the people with the right opinions get selected to say the right things because
absolutely.
they like. Well, it's the Parenti thing, like you can say what you like because they like what you say. Like there's the Michael Parenti thing.
And they become the intelligentsia in terms of think tanks. Bullshit right-wing neoliberal economic think tanks that are like, have literally taken over America. And like literally like every economic plan is according to some weird think tank that when you look behind it has a bunch of weird venture capitalists investing in it. That's what guides their ideology.
Most of the funding behind Brexit that came from right-wing religious organisations in the US, like real dark money. It's hard to even fucking find out where those links go, but all that shit which came out of Tufton Street was like well sus. But like they set agendas on not just a national stage, like an international stage. Like that, when you have access to capital, which is that huge, you can set those agendas.
Oh, they do. Davos. Davos is that in action.
And the like,
it's fucking frustrating, mate.
I guess it's for me. It's about if we're talking about reformism, which I think is a valid area to kind of look into, because it's about finding where you have the power to affect change and create rupture within those systems, and that does exist. It does exist. I think it's become increasingly limited with the amount of sort of top-down control we've seen implemented since I don't know what, like beyond Bretton Woods Agreement, that kind of thing. We're like the increasing sort of like snowball into neoliberalism. It's like very
Well,
much
and it's
top-down kind of like, you know.
use of technologies, I think, within states now to like like. Okay, so the one good thing that I will do a shout out for people today is that I have had until very recently a fucking horrific disability, and now I'm just left with a mild disability after going through chemo. And I was very worried that there would be structural changes to PIP, which would be things like, instead of it being a monthly allowance, because by the way, when you're disabled, like, yeah, it needs to replace an income because you can't make one. Yeah, there's both wider needs, and then there's specifically a mobility part of it as well, that like I can because I used to really struggle walking. I've changed it recently and like sent them off some paperwork, but it's also to both pay for adaptation things and also like tools, like sit down things in bathrooms and stuff, stools and stuff, and assistive like supporting kitchenware and things. But also it just costs loads of money being disabled, like loads of additional small costs and stuff. We didn't see any of that, and that at least, just thank fuck. I was so worried about there being like a proper fuck the poor. Yeah, we'll see, I guess. But
we'll see where the NHS when the NHS stuff comes from, you know. Like I want to look more deeply into that. Maybe I'll sort of like have an opportunity to do that maybe tonight or tomorrow, if I can, because like that's a major concern, especially when you've got like Streeting and Co. sort of like going, well, you know, like the main thrust of this budget is to get people back to work. Like that to me is like, are there going to be any stealth ways in which they can kind of kick people off their budgets, you know? Oh, Leaping Larry.
So I've just raided
lovely to see you, Larry.
into you. Hopefully. Wait, have you?
Yes, you have.
Yeah, right, good. Okay. Because I've got to bounce and actually get back to work shortly. Oh, how very.
Right. Well, thank you very much. It's been emotional.
Yeah.
We got through it.
Thank you. Somehow, like,
the bingo went incredibly badly.
Yeah. Shittest bingo known to man. To be honest, she's a very stale technocrat, isn't she? So. Yeah. If we'd had Starmer do it, Starmer looking as uncomfortable as that fucking sellout should look, frankly. He like, I don't know, she's just very like, hello, I have done this budget assessment and there's 2% raising on national insurance. It's like, what? Like, I've fallen asleep.
Oh no, it was but I guess the one takeaway that we can get out of this budget is that, thank God, they're raising a levy on passengers on private fucking jets. Thank fuck. I mean,
finally, the revelation.
Yeah, this is going to be the thing that finally raises working class people out from the fucking boots of fucking finance capital.
Finally, we got everything that we needed.
We've done it, chat. We've done it.
Right, dude. I'm gonna lurk in the background. No worries. I'll be listening to you whilst I'm finishing work. I'll catch you in a bit, mate.
Okay. See you later.
Bye.
Thanks a lot.